Love the green wall, but Crimsix is now the GOAT of just everything now. Scump hasn't done this. I genuinely don't give a if no one likes my opinion from the Spanish side of things. I wasn't wrong. Yamanos card don't work.
Talent to position in the league, there's no one who's been screwed over as bad as it. Welcome to Dope Check episode 10 with me, Ace the Stocksman. We got Tactical Rab and we got the EU GOAT, Trei 0. Guys, I'm feeling fantastic. I've been itching the entire week to talk COD. We've seen some crazy matches and some of the most insane drama we've seen of the entire season, off season, of all of it. I'm juiced to talk COD. I'm juiced to talk this all. How are y'all doing?
Say drama? Ace, you say drama?
Look.
Oh, I'm here, baby. I'm here. Let's go. Come on. Drama don't sleep when we're about. We're at the hotel room today. Been away in Barcelona for a few days and come back tomorrow. But that does not mean we're missing the dope check, ladies and gentlemen, because it has been a hectic couple of days. It's like you were saying, Trey, every week we look at the matches and we say, damn, this could be an interesting week. And then they hit us with a bombshell.
Yeah, I mean, some of the weeks we're looking at like, oh, these teams are just going to get smoked. These teams don't get smoked, apart from a few. And then there's also, we always sit here, you know, we do a 3-hour show, like, damn, there's no way we do this again next week. It's just matches next week. But the next thing you know, some people just start going crazy on Twitter. And now we're here, locked in for a 4-hour session. It's a goddamn pleasure. I hope you're doing fantastic.
We went from 3 to 4 all of a sudden. Everyone. Holy hell. Okay, guys. Well, to start off, let's talk a little bit about a follow-up potentially. We had some news, so I'm gonna pop over to the main screen here. Boom, there we go. Let me F1 that. There you go. So we did have this news that the CDL owners are now in talks with the new owner of Call of Duty, Microsoft, in order to get a better revenue share from merchandise and other materials, basically to make them more profitable for the league. I speculate, you know, I think I'm gonna start this off already because it seems like a follow-up, a speculation that I have is that this is something of a follow-up and a response to the Scump and Hex lawsuit that we saw. And we talked, you know, a lot about in the previous weeks. It kind of worries me though. It worries me a bit that the CDL is going to keep splitting profits when it doesn't seem like there is a lot of profit to be split. Maybe it's something we don't know. Maybe there's stuff happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of and how much money there really is. But I think I'm happy to see a bit more fight for the teams, and I think this will bring a lot more attention and interest from other organizations. Like we even saw, like we talked about TSM. We dropped that intel on the show. It makes it a lot more pleasant and a lot more attractive to want to join the CDL when you know you actually have a chance of becoming more profitable. So whether this is a response to the Scump Hex lawsuit or not, I think it's a positive overall for the CDL landscape.
Yeah, I think what Jake Hale said was that this has been in the works pre-Hex Scump lawsuits. And I'm not massively surprised, to be honest. It's one of these things where the publisher is the one that makes the money in this game. Activision Blizzard are raking in the cash from all sorts of departments. They made these teams pay $27.5 million to get in the first place. And then they take like all of the revenue off the top. They take half of the revenue that the teams get from anything they do. They restrict the amount of sponsorships they're able to take. Half probably of all the team skins go straight to Activision's pocket, and these teams are struggling to survive. So it only makes sense that we need something of a more equitable split here if this league is actually going to work. I guess the debate really around this was, is this good or bad? Because sure, the teams negotiate with Activision, they say, hey, we want you to allow us to do more sponsors that aren't going to conflict with the league ones, and because that's the only way we make any money. and we also want to take a higher percentage of the team skin sales, which makes perfect sense. Like that is actually the way that you make esports profitable, is these in-game skin stuff. Like they've done it in Valorant recently. I don't know that it's been popping off and the teams are making bag off that. But so are Riot, because Riot take 50% cut of the profits anyway before it even gets to the teams. And if it works on that level, then sure. But if the teams want to make this work, they will obviously have these conversations. I guess the concern would be that, oh, well, they're going to find an arrangement that works and therefore the CDL is going to stay as it is, which the community doesn't really want. So I think the feeling would be from my side is that I'm hoping this is like a stepping stone. You know, they have these negotiations, maybe they come up with a better arrangement, and then they say to the CDL, hey, how about we do this? How about we do that? How about we get rid of the city-based stuff? Because we're still losing money or whatever. So I'm hoping this is kind of like a first step in a big negotiation where the current state of the league changes significantly over the next like 18 months.
I think the biggest issue is that COD tries comparing itself to all these big esports that, you know, 50% of taking 50% of a COD team's revenue is wild. Because they're not making anything anyway. Like really and truthfully, like you said, if Riot are doing that to a big team over there, like the money a team will make on Valorant or CS or something like that is by far more money than the lower team of a CDL would make. You probably got OpTic that, you know, make a bunch of money due with merch and stuff like that. But COD esports is very small compared to the bigger esports like Val, CS, pretty much every esport, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest. More of the time, you know, I see a lot of people talk about, oh, this means the CDL is going to carry on going. We already had this discussion. You know, we already come to this, like the CDL is probably going to carry on for another, you know, year, maybe 2, maybe 3. The owners like the CDL because they are, you know, I would say making a bit of money, especially after that, you know, wave thing that we talk about with the buy-in or whatever like that. So I'm excited because it means we do get to see, you know, the guaranteed stuff for the players. Does it suck for the community? Yeah, you know, it's not what the community wants. But at the end of the day, we know the rich people run the show, and we just got to deal with it. And hopefully they do listen to the community, but keep the CDL. If they want to keep the CDL, they listen to community on the side and let teams join the CDL or let, you know, expand the team pool and stuff like that. It'd be nice to see, but we'll have to see what happens in the future.
In my mind, yeah, like the idea of CDL going away, or whether we're going to see a new face of it with a Microsoft kind of layer on top of it, a Microsoft appearance or a reformatting, I think is the number one question that everyone's kind of lingering. But we know that the COD league is not great with updating us on stuff and giving us news ahead of time. They love to give the news 2 seconds before it happens. So it is good signs, because on another note too, I would say that like if I'm a team owner and I have this team pack, but I'm not making a percentage off of it that I want to make, do I really have that big of an incentive? Am I really going to try that hard to market it? You know, I think there's something here that's actually really positive for the league, in the sense that you actually have an incentivization that comes now for team leaders, whether it's staff or CEOs, whatever you want to say, to really go ahead and heavily market these team packs and a lot of the other little microtransactions for these teams in order to make some actual money. Because right now, if they're taking so much of it, it's kind of like you wanted to get some money, you want to make some money, but at the same time, if Activision is taking all of it, you're not going to put your full foot forward to really put forth the efforts that will not only bring your team higher, but also bring up the exposure of the CDL, and more tweets, more marketing, more ad spend means more exposure for the Call of Duty competitive side.
I'm more scared of, I don't know, like how the business side of it works. But let's say OpTic, for example, they're not going to want that. Like, do they get the same split as Paris?
Yes.
I think so. I think they do. That's as crazy as that shit is. This is why Vegas are loving life. They pay zero money. They get to make some money on the YouTube deal, and they get to cash in on OpTic skin sales. It's an unbelievable deal. But the real winners, of course, are always Activision, because they set the deals. But like, this is why Vegas don't want to go anywhere. And I know that we're probably going to gas up that team in a few minutes, but like, there's a reason why these shit teams are quite happy to stay shit and pay no money because, you know, the top guys are at least still making a bit of change off this because they're basically feeding off the success of the top teams.
Like I said, that's what the scary thing is to me. You know, obviously it's got to be fair and stuff like that, but you can't compare Vegas to OpTic, you know. And I didn't know if there was like a thing where Paris could, you know, take the option of, you know, a split of sales or just take guaranteed cash. Whereas OpTic, you know, OpTic are going to 100% take the sales split because it's OpTic. You know, you go into a rank play match, you got 4 people using their skin thinking they're scump on a ringer. So that's what I didn't know where it stood on that. I assume every single team has the same split, especially with the YouTube and the skins and how everything that works. So I'm not too sure how that works, but I would assume, like Rab said, that Paris and Carolina and all the teams that are, you know,
to get in there.
I did. With all the teams not really giving a fuck, they're probably loving life right now.
Dude, if I'm OpTic, bro, this is like the Los Angeles Lakers sharing revenue with the high school rec league team. You know what I'm saying? It's so weird. And if I'm OpTic, I'm dropping another lawsuit on their bitch asses because it's so odd that my sponsorships, my massive sales, if I'm FaZe and OpTic, bro, I'm actually pissed. I'm actually heated that my pool of sponsorship money is getting distributed to these fly-by-night in 3 years, not going to be real organizations anymore type teams. I would be
I'm pretty
furious.
sure that's how it works. I mean, like, obviously, it would make sense if it was just distributed based on who bought what, but I don't think that's actually how it works.
I think it's for the sponsorships. I believe that's where it's a pool, but then for the team packs and stuff, I believe that's individual. So if you sell an OpTic team pack, OpTic gets that money, but if you get sponsors for the league and it's all OpTic's doing, I believe that's then shared between teams, which no matter what, that's still pretty unfair, in my opinion at least. Like, I get it's one league. I get, you know, you kind of knew what you were paying for and the terms coming in, but I'm pretty sure if I'm OpTic or FaZe, I didn't assume that I'd be backpack carrying like almost a quarter of the league on my back. You know, I'm pretty sure that that wasn't under their assumption coming in.
OpTic probably assumed that every single time. Yeah, if we're being real, OpTic probably go into the league and it's like, well, we're gonna double or triple the viewership again. Fun stuff. Fun
Good point though. To be fair, like the fact that the YouTube money from that deal does get split equally, but yeah, a large percentage of the viewers are there for the OpTic series, right? But like they don't get any more of that money, which maybe is fair enough in that case. But it's like, you know, it feels bad, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Scump pulls more viewers in the CDL stream when OpTic's playing.
Wait, brother. Scump pulls more viewers than the CDL stream on normal days. If FaZe is playing, if OpTic's playing, if Paris is playing, his recently at least, like post them announcing that lawsuit, Scump's viewership has been almost every day, every weekend, bigger than the official CDL stream. And that's telling.
Just give my brother the YouTube contact, bro. Like,
low key, just give him the bag and let him solo dolo this stuff. He'll take it to the moon, honestly. Like, it's shocking. I don't know. I think this is good for the overall state of the league. And here, I'll be Mr. Fortune telling man. This looks a little haunting now, but give it 5 to 10 years, and I know that's really bold of me to say because some people are assuming we're not going to have this in 2 years, but give it 5, 10 years, and when we have, again, like the TSMs and these bigger organizations coming in, I think it's all going to look appropriate at that time when we have these massive fan bases finally, you know, Sentinels and these guys coming in. Hopefully they're in the CDL, and that would bode well for OpTic. Everyone would be happy at the end of the day. I think doing it now, though, is a little early in the current landscape that we're in with an OpTic FaZe absolute domination of everything pretty much CDL related.
I respect the optimism, Ace, in terms of where this is going, but, you know, like, I think in 5-10 years, it's going to look very different. I don't think it's going to be called the CDL. We're going to be out in Riyadh for the World Championships, like, you know how it's going to be.
And I'm okay with that because that means I would be getting some form of decent cash.
Do you see?
They want to give us the private jet. I mean, can you imagine?
That's what I'm saying.
Do Do you see this beard? I smell like pure oud, okay? I smell amazing. I smell like a Saudi prince already. Get me over there, please. I'll announce. I'll
He smells like money.
I give it 3 years to the CDLs on kick.
I need to see. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Did you also see, I don't know if we mentioned this before, but the PGL Major for CSGO, Kick are paying PGL to stream it on Kick, but not like exclusively. They're just paying them to just stream it there as well, just so they have some sort of esports presence. It's like, I don't think Kick would do that for COD because COD's not the CSGO Major or CS2 Major, but Kick are actually paying money just to have it broadcast there, even not exclusively. So it's like, you know, there's money to be made a bit there, you know.
I mean, I'm sure COD would take everything there.
They should, right? I mean, I don't know.
That's actually
always one of the partnerships. That's all I'm saying.
20k to stream a Paris series, yeah, for sure. Fucking.
Yeah, no.
No,
Pocket that.
It's actually
Bobby
shocking.
Kotick takes 18.5k of that. Rest of it gets distributed. No, he's gone now,
To
though.
all the teams.
Yeah.
No, speaking
We should also
of,
talk about Crim Ace.
Oh, let's hop to
Bring up these couple of tweets because I forgot to put it in the notes, but we have to talk about Crim because it was like a big storyline of this week.
Yeah.
And it's kind of close to my heart as well because it's motorsport related.
I got you. Let's bring up.
I didn't know Crim was going to cook as hard as he did.
First and foremost, though, congratulations to him.
There we go.
I mean, this guy is absolutely cooking it. And for starters, let's not even talk about him winning the races or anything like that. Let's talk about how he's looking. He's looking trim. He's looking good.
Yeah. No,
that's commitment.
This guy, Crim. Okay, so I did the podcast with Crim a while ago, right? It's been several months. No, not even several. It's been like almost half a year at this point. And even then, he was mentioning, obviously, getting into the sim racing at that time, right? He didn't find much success. And funny enough, I'm in the FaZe warehouse right now. So, he's FaZe Crimsix. If everyone doesn't remember, he's FaZe Crimsix. So shout out FaZe also for letting me use the space. W FaZe. But he was telling me even then his ultimate dream was not sim racing. It was actually IRL, real life racing. But he thought like sim racing would just made more sense since he was he's one of the most accomplished and decorated esports players of all time and literally in history. So it made more sense for him to do this. But his ultimate goal was to make it happen on the track. He loved to take his own. Over the years, we saw him take his Porsche out, and he would post about him taking it out and on the tracks and racing it and just doing laps and stuff. I'm really happy to see that his dream that he talked about almost half a year ago or more is coming to fruition, and in this way, like in a championship winner scale. It's amazing to see, and I'm really happy for Ian, for Crimsix, that he just made his dreams come true. It's always like an amazing thing to see.
I mean,
it's the coolest shit. Like,
Ian's my goat now. Ian's my goat now.
That's 40 chips, baby. That's 38 plus 2.
Scump hasn't done this. Scump ain't gone out into the real world and won a championship in racing. And if we, they compare it to Messi, Ronaldo. Messi only done it in Barcelona. Scump only done it in OpTic. Crim done it in complexity. He's done it in OpTic. Now he's doing it in, he's doing it in real life racing. Love the green wall, but Crimsix is now the GOAT of just everything now. Everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the general like sports GOAT, ain't even close. Crim just transcends. I think it's like, as you say, I think he's lost like 40 pounds or something over the last few months to get in race fitness for this. It's also just the mentality thing, right? Like, he obviously was getting frustrated with COD, but he's obviously not lost the passion for winning. And here he goes, taking up this new adventure. I know there's obviously been talk about like the series that he's racing in and everything like this and the way that it works, because it's obviously not cheap to do this. So I imagine that FaZe or Porsche or something are kind of, bankrolling to make this work. But it's still so sick. And hopefully Crim can kind of take some strides from here, because he went into the sim racing stuff and he drove in the Rensport Championships. And like the sim races he's against are just the best on the planet, pretty much. Like that was the big new game. He was obviously always going to have a hard time there, especially because like real life racing and driving is his thing anyway. But he was genuinely cooking like the field. It's not like he was lucky winning this. Like he was P1 in every session. even this final race that he won, there was like a safety car in the final couple of laps. So he had like a 10-second lead, but the lead got wiped off because of the safety car. So he had to hold off the challenge on the final lap. It's actually so sick. So yeah, Crim goes back to back, and he's doing 7 more rounds of this season. I just wonder what the future will be, right? Because let's say theoretically Crim just dominates every single round and he just wins this like event comfortably, and 100% win rate, just maintains it. Someone's got to think, like, especially because Crim's bringing a lot of attention to this series right now. Like, his Instagram posts were blowing up, his Twitter posts was blowing up. Someone's got to think, all right, maybe I'll give Crim a seat in this more, legit racing series, maybe one rung higher up, shall we say, when it's like, it's not pro-am, it's like actual professional races, and then Crim could go in there and see how he does, and then maybe climb the ranks a bit. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a fun journey, and I think it was great to see like all the wholesome reaction as well from Nate and from others, right, on just giving Crim his flowers.
I thought it was funny, just like that, like just picture the conversation they had, like, yo, Crim, I can't lie, you kind of suck at this sim racing, and he's gone, let's try real racing and fuck it, yeah, let's just try some real racing. And also, let's just say that trophy he's holding there looks better than the CDL Champs trophy. So, congratulations on that too.
Bottle of champagne. I mean, come on, they don't do that at the CDL.
Nah, well, to be fair, I don't think the players could open a bottle of champers. To be honest, they wouldn't be spraying that around. They couldn't get the cork off.
Also, we have it's not only magnificent that he won, it's not only magnificent that, Scump, Hex, Nate, everyone gave him his flowers. You kind of saw this, like, it was like a very wholesome moment. But he also won not his first race, but he won a back-to-back. So, like, the first one, it could have been like a fluke, right? Because people could, winners, beginner's luck and things like that. But him locking in the second dub, we can watch it too. I mean, I play the win.
Yet another celebration. This is the second one they've had all weekend long. Their young driver has made it 2 for 2. Checker flag is out. Ian Porter's your winner. Conda holds off Schmid for the win. MyShack wins his first Masters race of the 2024 season. What's going to happen is it looks like...
Yeah, it's just like, it's so sick. Again, he's a winner in all regards. The competition has not left his soul. And it's kind of, bro, what's wrong with sim racing if this man could get on a real track and smoke people, right? Like that makes me question sim racing a little bit, and they got to update their systems, do a little patch or something, because Ian Porter is cooking IRL.
Nah, he was just driving against like serious sim racers.
Okay.
I wanna give those guys their credit, bro.
Honestly, though, is there a worse man to win than Crimsix? The amount of shit that guy can talk, you're gonna be fuming if you can't beat Crim, because he's just, I mean, you saw how he used to roast people in interviews in COD. He ain't gonna change for this either. He might hold it back a little bit, but like, I'm all for it. Like, he might be the new villain of IRL, like IRL racing, and then like you said, imagine like someone gives him a chance, and imagine Crim's just like the greatest racer of all time, and he's just been held back. It's just,
I love it, man. What a story.
Speaking of,
Godspeed Crim. I mean, he's doing like 6 rounds. I know that one of them is in Kota Ace, like, which is in Texas. It's the F1 track in Texas, so he's gonna be racing there later this year. There's a few other rounds, so maybe if it works out, go and have a look.
I'll have to go and support the boy. The chat was saying Crimsix, and that's probably the funniest thing I've heard all day. I'm just gonna support Crimsix all day and every day. But speaking of, Crimsix, your mind goes to OpTic, your mind goes to matches, your mind goes to COD. We have a lot of Call of Duty to talk about right now, and I want to talk COD. I know all 3 of us want to talk COD, so let's jump over to some of the series from the weekend, and let's start out with the OpTic Texas versus the Carolina Royal Ravens. Kind of an interesting series. There's obviously some stuff to talk about here. Rab, Trei, what stood out to you guys?
You want to go, Trei?
No, you go first. I'll
all right.
let you.
Yeah, okay. Interesting weekend for OpTic, right? Because we're seeing right now the FaZe and Ultra. We'll get into them. I will certainly get into them because there's lots to say on that. But subliners, they've been making good progress. And OpTic keep just, pounding away the wins. But their big competition is yet to come for OpTic, absolutely. Interesting clip that, we don't have the clip. It was just a brief moment on Kenny's listening that he did on the YouTube where he basically said that they've been slamming teams in scrims. And I know that every team says this, and especially OpTic always say this, so probably this, you know how it goes. But they would say that they've been getting outslayed in scrims at times, and they're literally putting teams in the 50-point club. And they were just like, why could we not deliver that against Guerrillas and against Rokkr when they played them in the way that I expected? They've been trying to resolve that. The Raven series was interesting because, again, a few question marks on what the hell happened in the Search and Destroy. Like, let's be real. That's one of those maps where a team like Toronto or FaZe or like maybe even certainly New York at the moment, when they got 1-0 in the way that they did, they always just capitalized game two with few exceptions. And just the way that they got slammed on that high rise is like, I don't know, they said, they checked out or whatever, but I don't know how you're checking out. I will say, though, that OpTic have got to take some positives out of it because their respawn's taken a step. Shotzzy was a monster this series and deserves a lot of credit for that performance. I don't think we get those performances from Shotzzy enough. And obviously the talk was, he only does it against the worst teams. I feel like now that Rio is a map, this is going to become a more consistent trend. Like, he dropped 43 on that Rio game 4. Pred had 36 or 37. Like, I think we said it on the show that Pred and Shotzzy should be the best SMG duo on that map, bar none as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's true as it stands. Like, I think you've got to be scared to play them right now on that Rio hardpoint. And I can't wait to see if Toronto chal them on it, as I imagine that they probably will when they play in the very near future. But still, I need to see more series like that out of Shotzzy because I don't think we get enough of them. And when Shotzi's on point, he is the most fun player in the game to watch. So, we just need to see more of that because the top teams are once again separating themselves from the pack at the moment.
I mean, listen, all the praises go to OpTic here in terms of how they're stepping up and stuff like that. We spoke about how they looked against Minnesota and how we said, last week we said they're not looking like an OpTic team, and they're coming onto interviews saying, I don't know how the hell we won this match. And then you got Shotzzy doing, 1.55 for the whole series. He's dropping 1.59 in the map 4. Now, Rab, I miss those performances too, but let me tell you, they are not happening every weekend. All right, that is unbelievable. We got to start talking about, we talk about OpTic, they didn't play the best opponents, but like Gwyn as well, still looking like a top performer as well. Like, even all of his teammates again, world starred, and he's still coming up looking big. You got Rab's best friend fellow dropping it,
I didn't even say it.
0.64.
I was shocked you didn't mention it. I'm honestly shocked you didn't bring that up, honestly.
I like fellow.
No, you see, the issue is we always have these discussions about, they're coming against the best teams and it's hard to talk about it, but it's the only thing you can talk of. If they ain't going to compete against the best teams, something needs to change. Like you said, they slammed them in the S&D, Rab. I don't know what checked out means when you're OpTic gaming. That shouldn't be a thing.
Right, some of the excuses they come up with are actually hilarious. They're like, well, we lost, but we weren't checked in, so it's fine. Like, who cares,
Checking out in a series is hilarious to me for OpTic.
Like, what do you mean?
I expected if you're like, bottom of the pack, like, we've just been pissed on, I checked out. But then they come back and 3-0 them in the control like it's nothing. Like, just 3-0 them in the series. Stop being weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've only got good things to say about them right now. They're looking good, but,
they wanted more practice, They wanted to play more Rio.
It's like you said, though, it's them coming up against a bad team. And, does Shotzzy only do it against the worse teams? No, I think he can show against the bigger teams, but the way he plays doesn't allow him to. But we've always said he's got this issue, Ace. I've had a discussion with you about it. Like, off stream and stuff like that. He just doesn't. You called him TikToksy. I feel like in the last few weeks since I feel like he's seen like a lot of things about him on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that. And I actually do believe he has like slowed his game down a lot and actually started playing a lot more teamwork based and more methodical with his compadres, and it's showing.
So let's talk about OpTic. OpTic and Respawns look very strong. They look really good. I do think teams need now to know that playing them in Rio is the wrong decision, and that should be your veto against them, because if they're on Rio, you're not shooting back. I just want to bring up the Rio stats. Like Shotzzy 1.6, Pred 1.2, Dashy 8.8 with 100, a lot of hill time, so still actually BP rating is good. Like he played well, and then Kenny with the 24 and 31, right? But you do not want to play them on a map like Rio, especially as they heat up and start to learn more about the map. Just their gun skill and talent alone, how quickly paced that map is gonna make them strides ahead once people start to get reps on the map and really start to understand how to play it. When it comes to S&D, I don't know what their issue is, right? You have a fantastic player like Pred on your team. You have, Dashy, who's been historically good. Kenny, who's been historically good. Shotzzy, who's been historically good. You have a team that's historically good individually in S&D, but for some reason, putting them together, they can't find the pacing. They can't find the, I don't know. It just seems like in the high rise, it just seemed like someone was getting.
They just suck at high rise, bro. Like I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it just seemed like
they just shared that map.
It seemed like they were someone just keep getting by. Someone just wasn't covering a lane. Something. It may be communication. That's probably the one thing, because Trei can attest to this. I'm sure that S&D, 80% of S&D is not gun skill. 80% of it is your comms and knowing what's going on the map and be able to track where the other people are. So maybe it's an improvement of their comms they need, but again, they're 4-0 this stage. They're going to be in the top 3 going into the major. They're going to be in winners, obviously. I think it's going to be the most interesting to see who they end up playing in Miami and where this kind of sets up and where they fall in the top 3. That's going to be the most interesting part of all of this. If they play a team, funny enough, I might get roasted slightly for this, but I think the only team OpTic don't want to see in round, it might be in losers, I don't know, but we'll see. The only team I think they really don't want to see is probably like a, I'm gonna say like a Rokkr, because your S&D game, if it's weak, you could get Neslo. Wait, let me explain. Don't do that face. They could get Neslo'd because their S&D isn't strong enough, and a team like Rokkr could take a single hard point off of you. That's all I'm saying. Every other team.
This guy came up with Rokkr. There were so many options. He went with the Rokkr.
Wait, Rokkr maybe Rokkr 3 weeks ago. Yeah,
wait, time out.
Gursh live in January.
Gursh said, "Get this guy out of the phase where." Dude, listen.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like Rokkr 3 weeks ago, yeah, for sure.
No, but okay.
Rokkr now, absolutely.
Wait. Let me bring it up to you guys. Let me ask the question. Let me beg the question then. Who do you think OpTic doesn't want to see and doesn't want to play in Miami? Like who they wouldn't want to see at first?
You mean of like a realistic round 1 game? Because realistically, round 1, they're not going to play New York, FaZe, or Ultra.
Exactly.
So it's like outside of those teams.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think you want to play Vegas right now, baby.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good shot.
I say Paris, Vegas. The thing is that, all right, so OpTic are 4-0, yeah? I've just looked who they've played. Let's be real. They should be 4-0. All right, let's be real. Like we can gas them up as much as they should be, but they should be 4-0 respectively. Their next 3 matches, New York, Ultra, Boston. Now, if they finish 7-0, yeah, they can have all the praise in the world.
Yes.
But after those 4 matches, I'm not giving you the highest praise. Congratulations, you won what you won what you should have won. Congrats. And you're playing well whilst doing it. Your S&D still doesn't look great. And if we're being truthful, they probably should have lost maybe 2 max, 100% 1 of those series. But
to who, Trey? To who should they have lost to? You say that shit with your chest right now.
Brother, did I not tell you that series, will crush Minnesota, and look what it's done. And we'll talk about that because guess what? I'm never wrong. Ever.
Okay.
I was waiting for this, baby. I was waiting for this.
Yeah, so I want to say...
We can get to that in a second.
Their upcoming matches are Boston, Toronto, and New York. So I would say at worst, literally at worst, I think we see OpTic going 5-2. So they're in the top 3. They're going to be cooking. I think they might beat New York. So I think a 6-1 realistically, there might be number 1 or number 2 or 3 in the standings. OpTic look good. I'm very curious if they can translate it against the top teams, of course. And yeah, they need to, I don't know what they need to do for their S&D, but their S&D is definitely the glaring hole that can lead them to lose a series. Because if they lose the first hard point, a little bit of panic must set in for them. That
they just have 2 search maps. Like they're good at Karachi, and we think they're good at Rio because when we've seen them play it, they seem to be good at Rio search. But they're trash at high rise. They're good at 2
maps that mean nothing. Yes. Like they're good at 2 maps that suck.
Yeah, well, someone's going to veto the Karachi against them, and then what? They don't want to play Terminal really.
Yeah,
well, Terminal sucks too. I mean, let's
Terminal's not a good. Terminal's not a good map for them because it's like their subs are what carry them in their search. Terminal's not a sub map, so you get your subs get shit on, and all of a sudden you're losing the map pretty quickly because you don't have sub presence. Rio is a toss up where I think they actually, if they can get a Rio into every series, they have a chance to not get desload and make sure they stay competitive in S&Ds generally. So. As long as the Karachi...
Their invasion as well is like... The invasion's pretty suspect as well, to be honest.
That's why I want to bring it up.
You play a team like Vegas, and you play them invasion map 5, like, who am I taking there? Don't know.
The thing is...
Theoretically.
I think they said, like, Dash even said it, like, they like Rio because it's like Black Ops 4. You see someone... you go attack that one person, you've got control of the side of the map, whatever. That's probably why they like that map. I see them on high rise, and my word, do they look like the worst team I've ever seen on that map? They do not have a Scooby what's going on that map, which is quite worrying because a lot of teams like playing high rise. So I feel like if you're gonna get the best out of OpTic, just get them on any other map but high rise because I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah,
there's always talk about auto vetoes, obviously, OpTic need to expand their search map pool because you turn up to a best of 7 grand finals, you're going to need a decent search map pool if you want to win the event. So obviously they need to work on it. They know that. They are working on it. But at the same time, can you get away with just vetoing one? Like, LA Thieves just didn't play Bakash. They just decided they weren't going to do it, and they dominated back-to-back events to 1 champs. So I think maybe it's not the worst idea in the world for OpTic to say, you know what, high rise just for whatever reason doesn't suit us. On paper, I think it should be okay for them because there's these like ratty plays that your subs can make for first bloods, but it just doesn't work for those guys. Whereas Rio is just like, I don't know, that watching Pred on that map reminds me of watching Bakaj Pred, to be honest. Like, he fucking loved that map. So
yeah, if I'm a team going against OpTic, they veto high rise. I'm bringing in Terminal. Let them have their Rio because it's a toss up, right? It's a toss up completely. Rio, you can magically win rounds.
Also a toss up.
Terminal, yeah. No, Terminal. I wouldn't say it's a toss up. I think Terminal again is very heavy on your ARs. It's very heavy on your ARs to just get the kills they need to get, and your subs to not make dumb plays and not throw their life away. So
the other team I would say actually just what I remember is like when we were saying which team would OpTic not want to play. I think if they play Thieves right now, it gets quite interesting on the map pool side because, as you say, Terminal Search probably gets in with Thieves, and Thieves have now won 2 Game 5 Terminal Searches in a row. So I think that makes things quite interesting.
They've also looked pretty suspect at that as well, though.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, they weren't very clean. It wasn't a very clean wins. But before we hop over to LAG, I think OpTic we covered pretty thoroughly. We got to talk about Seattle, bro. Like, I'm going to give myself credit, okay? Listen, I'm going to give myself credit to be the only person that predicted that Seattle was going to take the series. I don't know why everyone doesn't believe in their roster. Yes, I shit on the decision to swap who they swapped in. But, bro, listen. But wait, no, listen. But I'm not Do you think they're worse than LAG, chat?
Yes.
Like, do you guys?
But it's like that meme I sent you. It's two idiots fighting each other, and they're not getting no gas for beating another shit team. It's not happening. Congratulations.
They should not have won that one. I actually do give Gay some credit for that pick, but like, come on.
Congratulations on picking them, but like, you didn't feel like they were gonna win that.
Yes, I did. Whoa, what the fuck? No, listen. Okay, here's my reasoning. I'm gonna give my proper reasoning. Okay. I think it's a confidence thing. Seattle doesn't have confidence against pretty much anyone. I think they go into series knowing they're gonna lose. I think they are very deflated after losing their best player. But LAG is that one team where you're playing AMs, bro. Half the team are AMs. One of them, you could argue Diamond Khan is right. He's pretty much right between an AM and not. He's good. I'm giving him his credit. He's a good player. But that's the team where I think Seattle can thrive against because they can be delusionally confident playing against them. Like, oh, I'm going to take the Chow because I'm shooting against Fame and Estriel. Fame did his thing, but I'm just saying, like, it's a mentality thing. That's why I picked them, honestly. I picked them because I saw them after losing so many maps. They were going to be like, wow, we finally got LAG. We get a chance to breathe. We can have some fun playing some COD. And I think that we saw that. Karachi, you're right. They should have lost 100%. That was a crazy ending of the P1 to the P2 rota. It was a weird... It was honestly a scam fest. Like, to be honest, it was a scam fest. It was terrible Call of Duty to watch. It was nothing, not even in the realm of watching any of the top 4 teams. Like, watching Toronto FaZe looked like I was, again, back to the example of watching the NBA versus watching middle schoolers throw the ball up. This is middle school right here. So, great. I did assume them to win. iLLeY, again, in the respawns, in control, I'm not going to, in the respawn, he had a .65 to start out the map slow. But overall, they were playing well. I think the implications in this series are not really for Seattle here, but it's more for LAG. If you're LAG right now, bro, you gotta toss some things up. You gotta make some swaps.
You said Seattle are playing well. Am I hearing this right?
Who did?
You just said Seattle played well.
No, when did I say? I didn't say Seattle played. I said the implication here is not Seattle. It's to look at LAG and that they need to make a change. Seattle, like LAG.
I don't even think they can.
You don't think LAG can make a change? Why?
They ain't got anyone to go to make a change.
You think?
They ain't got their manager.
I think they put Flames in. That's my theory. They actually have a sub. They actually have Flames.
A sub, but what I'm saying is like...
Yeah, but Flames Flames has been getting flamed in challengers too.
Yeah, but my point is, who are they going to go to? Like, we need to make it... Oh, shit, no one's there. We can't afford anyone. We've got no one that actually gives a fuck.
Let's go to the LAG page really quick. I'm gonna go to the LAG page. Let's see their matches, right? They've lost to Legion. They've lost to OpTic. They've lost to Surge. Their upcoming matches are Ravens, New York, LAT, and then FaZe. It's actually a decent schedule. Carolina and Thieves are they're toss-ups possibly for you. New York.
Yeah, it's a decent schedule to go 0-4 on for sure.
Yeah, you stole the words, Trei.
Listen. Stop. We can't sugarcoat it. All right, we can't. We there are teams that are better than other teams. We have said that LAG. I mean, you've lost to Seattle, who we deem one of the worst teams in the league. You've got to make a change. I just don't know how they make a change because it's not like they have the support of anyone. That was my point, Ace. It's not that they. My point is, where's the support for them? And then the org doesn't want them there.
No, listen. My issue was that everyone a week ago, including you two, and including you two actually, and the flank and everyone else, was saying Seattle's the worst team. I don't think they're the worst team. I think they're 11th or 10th. But I think LAG is actually the worst team. Like, truthfully, the worst team. You don't have...
That's what I'm saying now. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying if you lose to Seattle after what Seattle... Like, we look at Seattle and they play horrible COD.
Seattle genuinely played the worst COD I think I've ever seen in the CDL in a couple of series in a row. Like, the series against Toronto, we've also got to say... This guy Arcetes, man, like I know we talked about it before with Priest to play for kills, but oh my god. If you look at that series against Toronto, look at Arcetes' engagements, bro. He did nothing on the map, but he still went positive. It's actually insane, right? It was so blatant what was going on there. I honestly think Surge did not even play much better in the series against Guerrillas. Hook just fried. Like, I genuinely think that was the difference. And maybe he fried because Guerrillas had crap, which is true for sure. But I don't think Surge really played any better. It's just in one series, Hook was running into death and dying and getting baited to hell. In the other series, he was getting baited, but he was getting all the kills. It didn't matter. So, I don't know. I'm still think Surge incredibly suspect, but Guerrillas are just dog shit as well. So
the funny thing is, I think if you play this series again, I can just see LAG 3-0 in Seattle. That's the funny thing.
Possible, man. I want to see, if you run this series 100 times, I want to see what happens, man. To be fair, maybe I agree that Surge win most of those 100 times if they were to do it, but what an absolute shambles. Like, genuinely, if this happens, I swear, every year at some point, that the separation starts to occur. The dog shit teams realize they're dog shit and they're just fighting for their life and they have no faith when they play the better teams. And this is just what happens. Like, it's tough. But I mean, surely they've got to try Flames, right? Got to try something.
I was going to say, I think after this event is going to be one of the most crazy, like, team roster mania changes. Not in terms of who's going where, just in terms of you're going to see so many teams switch up players. Like, every team that's below the bottom 4 is going to look at themselves and be like, all right, we got to do something. And LAG, I don't usually say squad wipe, but at least get rid of 3 people. It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
They don't want to do it. They're just riding this out until the day the CDL comes to a conclusion.
I'm hanging up the controller.
LAG need to go. I think they need to go with that original roster that they kind of had planned. I know ASIM's already on a team and stuff now, but you got to go with it. You got to try out that original roster that you dumped basically. Well, it was Gunless, Diamond Con, ASIM, and then who's the fourth?
Kremp, who was meant to be, I think.
Who was it?
I think it was Kremp.
Oh, it was Kremp.
I'm pretty sure.
So get Gunless.
So they can only get Gunless, but
get Gunless. Keep Diamond Con.
Gunless
They're getting slammed away, man. They're getting slammed
Let's
away.
rerun Cammy. I'm telling you, he's in form now. Let's rerun Cammy.
Yeah.
I'm into Boston. I'm gonna keep saying this shit. Cammy into Boston with Slasher. I got clowned on when I said it week 1, and I'm sticking to my guns on this.
I'm clowning you too.
A different topic,
I'm clowning you too. But we bring Cammy into this team. Diamond Con, Cammy, Gunless. You could keep Fame, honestly, and that's a.
I mean, to be fair, look,
that's a good team.
I was going to say low-key from Cammy. I'm staying in challenges. I'm not touching that LAG team. I'm be real.
Yeah, if you're Cammy, your stock's already too like damaged and bruised and fucking choke slammed off the top rope to you to take another risk on an LAG team that you don't know where it's gonna go. Yeah, but also we had. Do we have the clip of Octane saying what he said? I think the clip is somewhere there. Do we have the clip of that?
I don't know if I linked it, but I mean, he was basically talking about iLLeY, whether he's ever coming back. It maybe Spawn Up got it, but basically the point that he was trying to make was that iLLeY ain't coming back anytime soon, not to this team or potentially elsewhere. And I don't really know if Octane had any intel on that, or whether he was just saying it. But I know that Brian Stats did a tweet as well that said that iLLeY's played professional COD for 5 years. He's played 13 LANs, I think. Part of that is because there was no LANs for a couple of years because of online, pandemic and shit. But the last couple of years, he's just been dropped out of the team at the start of the season for various reasons, and then just never comes back in. So, yeah, I just like... The gap is just growing by the day. Surge, Guerrillas, Miami... Man, it is shocking down there. And thankfully we have some drama to keep the league matches interesting because bloody hell.
I have the clip here. So I'm going to play the clip so everyone can see and know exactly what we're saying in case you didn't see it. It's Octane on the flank mentioning what Rab is talking about here. So
community believe they would yeah, obviously. I think we as a community know that, think that. But I don't think this team internally thinks that. I don't know, Sam, what do you think?
Bro, this topic needs to sail. He ain't coming back, and he got pushed off the team for non-COD related reasons. There's nothing to talk about. He's gone off the roster. These guys suck, period.
And I think
franchise is chalk.
Let's get some lines here, right? Like they brought in Brezzy, obviously, his team with and friends.
We as the community.
Franchise is chalk, he says. Look, Octane is the #1 Seattle hater worldwide. So I respect it.
Yeah, I want to say too.
Go for it.
I just want to say too. When I hear that clip and I watched it even the first time, it kind of sounded like he was just exaggerating and it got taken out of context a little bit. Like he was just saying like, "He's gone, bro. Like shut up." It's such like let's stop talking about it. I'm tired of talking about it. In my mind, that's what it seemed like more than him confirming Octane or excuse me, iLLeY is gone forever. That's what I took it as. Maybe maybe I'm delusional. I don't know, but I heard it as just him being more tired of talking about the topic and just not wanting to imagine this like go through the same scenario 1,000 times. That's how I heard it. Maybe I'm tripping.
I mean, to be fair, if there was any information or intel, it would already be out there by now, to be honest with you. You know how things in the COD scene goes, nothing really gets... There's probably like 1 or 2 people that probably know and hasn't told anyone if it's like super serious or something like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's like a playground in the COD scene. No one can keep a secret. Everything gets put out there. So from the way that you said it, it just seemed like you just didn't want to talk about it. the narrative of iLLeY coming back and saving this team. Even if iLLeY did come back, the team's not being saved. It's chalked. It's done.
I actually want to disagree with you here, only because what you said is like, oh, someone would have found out, but actually, this is the one time in a long time that what has happened with iLLeY was not leaked. No one actually still knows. The camp never leaked it, really. So why would this be different? You get what I'm trying to say? Like, how would Octane have this like in-depth knowledge when there's been no leaks, no one's really confirmed anything, and it's kind of gone radio silent? How would Octane pop out of nowhere and just be the guy to have the leak? Especially when he's Seattle's #1 hater. I don't think anyone in the Seattle back office is really running to Octane's DMs to tell him something. So that's why I also disagree on a secondary basis with what this tweet or this drama, whatever you want to call it, was implying. Like, oh, Octane's confirming. I don't think he confirmed anything. I don't think it's possible that he confirmed anything. There was nothing available before, and I think the same now.
That's what I'm saying. I genuinely believe if someone knew something, it'd already be out already. Like, Rap would have tweeted it. Jacob Hale would have tweeted it. Rap would have made a video. Like, we would have seen a bunch of shit. Like I said, maybe there's like 1 or 2 people that know and actually has not said anything. I feel like someone on Surge would know. They've just took iLLeY and just gone, nah, he's not here anymore. I'd like to think one of the players knows or something like that. But I think this is probably the one time where I actually agree that something like this probably should stay, out the way and work behind the scenes and whatever like that. But we won't go too much into it because we already had it. We already spoke about this. But
yeah, we don't.
It's just like Surge are allowing the community. I think Ben made this point that Surge is just allowing the community to control the narrative fully. Like, they're not putting anything out there. And they won't address anything. So anything that the community says or talks about is what goes in with regard to the Seattle camp, which I don't think is good for their team. And they have to deal with all the bullshit of it. And maybe that's better than the alternative. But yeah, it's still tough. And there's definitely teams that iLLeY would improve, but it ain't happening. I think we can be pretty clear with that for now. So you've got to look elsewhere if you're looking for like a flex option. And there's a few teams that could be, as far as I'm concerned.
And one of those teams that we talked about might need some changes is the Boston Breach. So let's jump over to their series against Los Angeles, bro. I always get this team wrong. I either say Paris, and now I'm saying Los Angeles, Las Vegas Legion. This series had some weird implications, like just in the sense of where people are standing in the CDL. I want to start with just giving praise and credit to the Legion. I mean, like, we kind of gave speculation last week. They might be back. They might be real. They might be doing something here. But them beating Boston, I think, finally solidifies them out of the bottom of the pack. They're now in the middle of the pack for sure. And I think some of the top teams, right, top 4, top 5 teams are getting... I'd be a little nervous to play Legion. Like you said, we brought up Legion against OpTic. I'd be nervous to play them round 1. Honestly, this would be the #1 team I wouldn't want to play round 1 because you could get surprised out of nowhere. Super credit to
I said
Nero.
Rokkr 10 minutes ago, but all good.
No,
I'll let you work.
I said you said that, by the way. I said you said that. I said we said that because we're a collective now. We're dope check, okay? If you say something, I said it too, bro. Cheese, mozzarella, provolone. You know what it is. Okay, listen. So I want to give big credit to Nero. He has been lights out, looking in form, shooting differently, snapping, just looking like a top sub, looking like one of those subs that shouldn't be on a bottom team. Someone should have picked him up. Breach should have held on to him. There's a lot of thoughts that I've had watching him play recently that make me just like, this kid is legit. This kid's real. This kid's a top. This kid plays aware. And then you have Dylan too, bro. Dylan, I think I tweeted this I replied to someone with this, but Dylan is by far the most screwed over pro in the entire league. Bar none. No one's been in a worse position over the last several years, complemented by their talent. Talent to position in the league, there's no one who's been screwed over as bad as Dylan. He's performed year after year, consistently been, filling his role, being a good leader to his teams, and playing decently. But somehow, some way, just, the top teams are stacked. It's just what it is in this league. The top 4 teams have they're just not much room for movement. So he unfortunately can't move up. But do I think he should be on a Paris Legion? No. Vegas Legion, I think he should be on a better org. I think he deserves more. He's a world champ. He's been playing consistently over the last several years. We need to get Dylan attach a better team and a better org and move him up in the league because he's been playing unbelievably, dropping 13K damage against Boston. The major, we talk about Nero, but Attach is a damage dealer. He's working the map. Yeah, I think Dylan deserves more praise, and I would argue he's one of the most underrated players in the entire league.
I would just like to add that I am one of the most unluckiest pros of all time over the last several years. I think I take that.
Active
players.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. We also have Mama Tatch in the chat. Hearts
that's why he's saying nice things.
No. I just saw right now. Heart to Mama Attach. Love you.
I think if we look at it last year with Attach, you got to look at the fact that he did blame the fact that they tried getting him to play slower. I think we all know how good Dylan is, and he's won multiple events. He's always been up there, but I'm going to disagree in terms of if you think he should be on a better team, not because of how he's playing. I don't think that's it. But I think what they've got going on right now, I don't even think he should be even looking at a different team. I think what he's got going on right now is he's comfortable. The team's playing well. I think if they were losing and he was doing this, then it would be a different conversation. But right now, they're cooking. They're doing what they need to do. And yeah, he's not on the org that we see Attach on. I agree with you on that one. But right now, he's in his element. He's comfy. And I think the last thing he needs to do is, look at leaving or look at being picked up by someone different. I think what they've got going on right now, especially with how well Purj is doing, and I'm not saying Purj is dropping 1.7s, 1.8s, but Purj has definitely stepped it up too. And I think what they all need to do right now is, instead of focusing on, looking at like a bigger picture of where else they can go, I think what they need to do is carry on doing what they're doing, keep riding the wave. And I think we've got a serious team on our hands in terms of a dark horse who can take out maybe an OpTic, or at least take a few maps off FaZe, or
they nearly beat. Not beat Toronto, but nearly won game 5 with Toronto.
They definitely, and they definitely. I feel like, I don't want to say choked, but they definitely had glimpses where they could win the maps against Ultra too. I think this Vegas team is a serious team right now, and what they need to do is continue working how they're working. Obviously, they're meshing well as a 4, and shout out to Purj for turning it around. And Nero, I agree with you, Nero, but it's this thing with the consistency. And you need to see it week in, week out, week in, week out with him, because you've had series where he's dropped 1.5s and then the next series on a 0.67. You know, we need to, if he's going to play this well, his bad matches have to be like a 0.95 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something where it's not like drastically changed. And I believe that is true. It's just his play style. You know, he's a fast sub. If he's gunning, he's one of the most annoying players in the world to play against when he's gunning and playing that fast. It's crazy how good he is when he's on form. So I'm just excited to keep seeing this team play, honestly.
Yeah, like he's one of those players, Nero, as with Attach, that I was, somewhat surprised that a theoretically superior organization didn't give them a go. And as much as I clown on Legion as an org, and for very good reason, this team is really likable. Like, people really want to see these guys win. In the same way that Clay last year was the talisman of this roster, Attach has kind of taken over that mantle. And people want to see these boys make a run. Everyone loves an underdog story like this, especially the Purj Nassim redemption arc, baby. This guy was going from getting piss slammed every series, and every single series he's played for the last 5 or 6 in a row, he's got better. He's gone from 0.7s to 0.8s to 0.9s. And look at this most recent scoreboard. He had a 1.0. Purj's KD listed in green. What a day. What a day to be a Vegas Legion fan. Nero's unbelievable, we know that. I think they've got all the pieces though, right? Because the talent is there. Like, Nero, Attach, obviously good enough. Purj, he won the Challengers World Championship last year. Like, this guy isn't a burger. Like, okay, sure, he weren't shooting great, but now he's on the sub. He's playing better. And Gio's a legit talent. And Gio seriously brings the energy, right? I think that's what I love about listening to these guys' comms. Like, they're hyped they win a map. Like, so many teams below them, they lose a map or even they win a map and they don't look hyped. They don't look like they like each other. Like, these guys seem like they get along well. Gio in the comms is bringing the energy. Purj is bringing some of the leadership stuff like Attaches. And then Nero just runs around and absolutely shits on guys. And obviously there's going to be a degree of inconsistency in his playstyle probably. But let's be real. Vegas, this is the first ever Vegas team to go 2-0 in a split. I mean, how wild is that, by the way? They've never ever started off 2-0. They've only ever started off 0-2 or 1-1. But they started 2-0, and now they're 3-1. And you look at their upcoming games, Ace, and I'm not saying they're going to finish 6-1, but I'm saying that the way they're currently playing, 5-2, is very plausible here. Like, they could be a top seed going into this event, and especially the way that the final matches are going to shake out at the top of the standings. Like, if Vegas end up at this event with a really nice seed, it's going to make the seeding pretty crazy potentially for the major as well. So, and it's going to get them some juicy CDL points. So yeah, I'm really happy that these boys are doing well, because they've actually put together a team. They've not, listened to all the criticism and dropped Purj because they thought that he was a piece that could work with the team, and he's getting better. And they're actually a team that feels like a team, Trey. They seem to like each other. Can you believe it? And that's resulting in success. They got rid of Standy, probably for out of game stuff. I don't know. For some reason, Standy just causes issues with these teams. And what do you know?
It's like I should be a coach. Crazy, right? I know exactly what I'm talking about. When a team is teaming, they be teaming. And it all started from an attached middle finger to the camera. Can you believe it? Wow, look at us go.
Bro, three things. Okay, three quick things. One, their upcoming schedule, like Rab said, is probably the easiest schedule of any team. LAT, Seattle, Carolina. Every team you play, well, LAT theoretically is a bad team, but the other two are negative in this major, in this split. 1-3, 1-3. Yeah, Legion have a real chance to go 6-1. That's insane. That's unheard of. That's weird to think about. That doesn't even sound like it's real life. Secondly, Gio does deserve a lot of credit here, because I want to specify, against Toronto, he had the highest KD on their team. Dylan had the highest damage. We got to give him some love too. But a 1.13 when you're shooting against Scrap and Insight, boy, that's tippable. Boy, that's really tippable, Gio. Good work out of Gio, and he's seriously a talent that was just lingering in challengers. And the fact that they picked him up out of they just scrimmed the team, saw he was playing, and said, "Welcome to the league, kid." That's like a what's that, storybook type of upbringing that a lot of kids would crack under the pressure. Gio is performing against the best teams really well, so I'm happy they brought him in. Thirdly, if I'm Standy, I'm screaming in my pillow at night, bro. I'm raging. I'm punching walls at night. I'm having nightmares because you get dropped and you hope for obviously for the team to do worse in your absence, but they've done so much better that I actually think this is a kind of a implication that Standy's stock by them playing so well now is in the gutter. Him getting dropped initially, the response to the community was good. It was like, oh, Standy got dropped. He was playing well. What the hell? But now that they're playing so much better, I actually think the implication of this, too, is that Standy now is looked at as a...
You see his tweet as well? I don't know if you saw, like, he did like a damage control tweet where he tweeted about... you can maybe find it real quick. It should be still up unless he's deleted it, because we know Standy loves deleting tweets. But he basically tweeted about how strength of schedule is cheese and it makes teams look better than they actually are. Oh, he deleted it. Of course he deleted it, bro.
I saw this.
This guy cannot be stopped, man. Oh, my God. Anyway, I talked to him in a video a couple of days ago. Basically, he said that certain teams get an easy schedule and therefore they look good despite not being good and therefore they get gassed. And the implication was, read between the lines, that he doesn't think Vegas are actually that good. But maybe he's fair enough. Like, they've got an easy strength of schedule, but like...
what do they want him to... What do they want Paris to do about it?
Yeah.
I don't get that tweet whatsoever. Like... Oh, never mind. Like, you know... Ultra aren't that good. They just won an event. Like it don't matter. Like what kind of tweet is that, bro? Like they can only play.
Like, you know?
They can only play who's in front of them at the time they're given and with the schedule they're given. It's not like they've gone, you know, oh, we'll play one match today, and then we'll get better. No, like they're frying. Don't be angry. Like. Yeah,
Reddit,
it affects your stock.
Reddit has the screenshot, baby. Reddit never fails. I got it.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah,
I got it. Here you go.
Stock. I would be angry too. Like you said, it affects his stock. But there's, you know, pros know why people don't get picked up. It's not, you know, there's a reason he's been dropped. And, you know, we say it's not due to in-game thing, which is fair enough. But there's a reason he's not been snapped up instantly. You know, all this drama of Purj not being dropped for Standy, and Standy's, you know, Purj has kept his spot and Standy hasn't. But what, like, Standy hasn't been instantly picked up, has he?
No, let's be real. I mean, Toronto dropped him last year for Hixie, and as much as I like Hixie and I think he can be a great piece, he's obviously not as talented as Envoy, and they still bloody won an event with Hixie, and they made the grand finals of champs. So what do you want me to say at this point?
Yeah, he has 2 strikes on his name basically with that Toronto, and now with Legion, the improvement is like not small. It's a vast improvement when he gets removed. So yeah, what you need
to do is pick up Standy at the start of the season. If you're a dog shit team, you pick up Standy, you drop him 6 weeks in, and bang it. We're going all the way to the top, baby. Hire me, mate. Like Boston Breach or some shit org that's like the good org but shit team struggling. Hi, me. I got the strats.
That's the most toxic thing said on the entire show today. I'm just letting you know. Rab is toxic today. He's coming for heads today. But speaking of Vegas, we have to speak on the other side of the implication of that series that we mentioned. The Boston Breach getting absolutely smoke showed, 3-0'd by Legion. Now 2-2 on this split. Reactions. What's the reaction of this team? They had a good glory series against Rokkr where everyone's like, they're legit, they're back, you know, Asim's godlike and all this, and then the next week get 3-0'd by Legion. What is the reaction?
They didn't fool me, man. Boston did not fool me. Beating that trash Rokkr team we'll get into. I mean, like, I don't know. I thought the same thing when they got slammed by New York in the way they did. I'm like, bro, this shit doesn't work. And Snoopy's been playing pretty well. I know that Ace is probably going to say that it's Snoopy's fault here, that they're losing or some bullshit. But, and Asim got giga fried this series as well. Like, the control was ugly. I don't know how many deaths Asim. Can you actually click onto the control, Ace, just to see how many deaths Asim had here? Because I'm pretty sure it was not pretty in terms of, like, the amount of engagements he had.
0.65, then, 22, and 34. 0.65, 22, and 34.
Died so many times. Like, yeah, tough series for him, But again, it's this like preset. Look at the damage. Look at the overall series damage. And I know that I'm a bit of a slasher defender, but I do think he is the man when it comes to a LAN environment and to lead the team forward. But in the same way that Big Wake, I watch the game sometimes and I'm like, what does he do? I have the same questions about Priester. Like, what does he do? What does he bring? I don't know.
Boston.
Trey, you want to take it? You want me to start cooking? I'll cook.
I mean,
I'll cook. Trust me, I'm ready.
I'm not gonna cook him. I'm just gonna say like we had this discussion the other week. Like the Slasher and Priester duo, is it gonna work? How many times are we gonna say like we're a new team? You know, they brought in ASIM. Things still ain't working. I can't remember who their last 2 wins was against.
Last two wins are Rokkr and Ravens. They've lost to Subliners and Legion.
It's just one of those things, bro. It's just like I couldn't tell you what's wrong with that team. I really can't. And without roasting them, like I couldn't tell you because like it's just they're playing shit.
All right. Yeah, you want me to tell you what's wrong with the team?
Yeah, I mean, like,
what is this guy cooking?
Listen,
I'm just intrigued. Like, the team looks good on paper. They brought in ASIM to help Snoopy. Obviously, you have your things about Snoopy. That's fine.
Yes, indeed.
But
they need to. Let me cook, bro. I gotta cook now. I
was just gonna say I don't think Snoopy's the issue in this one,
and that's why I can't let you rock. Cause, bro, if we're gonna sit here and imagine, and Trey is gonna pretend that kills are the only thing that dictate Call of Duty, competitive Call of Duty, and especially a game like MW3, we can be in La La Land as much as we want. Okay, guys, stats matter the most. Woo! Outslaying your team. Woo! That's great and all. But we got to agree when someone is running around like a headless chicken, bro. Motherfuckers don't know he doesn't know what he's doing on the map. I can bring up examples. I can bring up examples from weeks prior. I can bring up examples against Rokkr. I can bring up examples this week. I could do it if I want to, but we're not the flank. We're not the breakdown. I'm not here to break things down. I'm here just to tell you.
You just said to yap. This is what he does.
Bro, you think Rab, this is the problem. If you think I'm yapping, then you need to look at the mini map. Because the kid doesn't know what he's doing on the map. He can snap. He can shoot. But he is a liability when it comes to a game like Modern Warfare 3. He's a liability on the map. Then, ASIM getting acclimated. Again, if we look at here, his Slayer rating, he's actually shooting a bit here. I think ASIM needs some more time to just get acclimated in how they play. ASIM, I think, is going to be fine. I do agree that the Slasher Priesta combo is a bit too odd. If you were to bring up somebody, you need to grab Cammy and give him a chance. I think Cam on that team with a Slasher as his leader, telling him, kind of dictating what he does and giving him this bounds, these rules of how to play Call of Duty. Like, yo, if I'm here, if 2 are down, do this. If this is here, do this. When you have a leader like that in your team, it makes playing Call of Duty a lot easier and someone who's like, you kind of, you respect. I'm not saying when he's on LAT he didn't respect his teammates, but I'm saying it's a lot when people are your age or younger, like Ghosty to Cammy, it's a little harder to like listen to the guy and be like, okay, I'm down for your plan. I'm gonna sit here and quiet down and not make my opinion known and just follow the game plan. With Slasher though, this is a world champ. You're actually gonna sit here and listen to what he says, buy into the system, and you need a faster AR who's just running and gunning like a Dante, who's more controlled like Cammy. Add him to this team. Get Snoopy, put him on the academy team. Bring up Cammy. I think you actually have a team that can shoot back. I actually think you have a team.
That's crazy. My Cammy to Boston idea is gaining some traction. You love to see it.
Listen. First of all,
yeah, go on, Trey. Go on, Trey.
I was gonna say, first of all, let's throw P-Dog on the sub, ASIM on the AR, like ASIM was at the start on FaZe Clan Black. He was frying on there. Let's be real. And I'm not saying he wasn't I'm not saying he can't use a sub. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But you want to try sorting this roster out before things go up, before we start bringing in new players. Let's try that for example.
I'm not saying Priester can't shoot with an AR or Asim can't shoot with a sub. I just think if we're talking pacing wise, Priester is like a faster player, but right now he's not putting up the damage with an AR. You put an AR in Asim's hand, I promise you he's putting up the damage. We will see Asim as this like godlike sub player, whatever like that. That's perfectly fine. But I mean, if they believe in that, if they believe in this roster or whatever like that, we're not. Priester just won a championship, a world championship, and he's not shooting back right now. His damage is low. Let's try swapping that up if they don't want the team change. If they want the team to change, then fuck it. Keep Asim on the sub, Snoopy over there, whatever like that. I just refuse to believe this roster. And I'll say this is that the reason this roster is not winning is not purely because of Snoop. I understand what you're saying. You're saying that he's running around like a headless chicken, but we've got Asim throwing up, what was that, like 30 to 34 deaths. He's on a Asim and Snoopy throwing up basically 2 control round losses on deaths alone. And then just the whole, like, Priest has got 9.9k damage as an AR player. Like, that's bad, like really bad as an AR player. Shooting against like a team like Legion, who we deemed like bottom lastly, not bottom, but like we don't deem as like a really good team prior to them actually being looking like a good team. But we've got to start looking at this Priester / a duo, and if they want to continue being a duo, I'm saying right now, let Asim be like a faster AR player and let Priester run the sub for a little bit. Let's see how that works out. Try it in scrims for a week or a few days, and if it's still like shit, put Asim back on the sub, change Priester out, and see how that goes. And then if that's still the issue, then we might have to throw Snoopy to the academy team, like Ace said, just because I feel like if that does happen, then Ace is going to come in there and start roasting us, saying that he knew this was going to happen. So that's what I would do if I'm them. If they want the team to succeed, if they want these 4 players, try Priester on a sub, Asim on a flex, make it all faster, more methodical, and see how that goes.
Listen, they sound similar. Listen, look, guys, everyone chat, listen, open your ears. Standy, Snoopy, Standy, Snoopy. You see the similarities even in the names, man. You get them off the rosters and you start shooting back. That's what happens, bro. I'm telling you. Boston invested too much of this like content around this guy, and like, bro, they've like committed. Boston, dude, this is a situation where Boston have committed so hard to this guy. They've committed so hard to him that them backing down on it just looks bad on their org. But at some point, whether it's now, whether it's 6 months from now, whether it's the next game, I'm gonna be proven right. And when I am, I'm gonna come on Dope Check and I'm going to put on I don't know what I'm going to put on. I'm already in a fur coat and like this crazy shirt. I don't know what I'm going to be in, but I'm going to have a crown on my head and start laughing just maniacally throughout the entire show about why I know I'm right here. But the world changes.
That isn't premium hating, by the way.
Listen.
But I was waiting. Like, I have 2 things to say. I have 2 things to say on this. But if you want to say something, Trey, you can, and then I'll go.
I was going to say, Ace said he's going to cook. Like, the guy's cooked for like 10 minutes and just served me raw steak, bro. Like...
Raw chicken, right?
Like, I understand where you're coming from, but like, I don't know if like Snoopy's got some like nudes of you or something like that you just like you don't want to, you got some shit. Like, I have an agenda against some people, but Snoopy is not the issue in this circumstance.
Right. I will say this, right? So Snoopy, yes, he makes mistakes on the minimap. You look at it, there's issues like Hook has, like Standy has. I think those 2 players, I don't know if you can save them, i.e., I don't know if you give them a good in-game leader, you try and teach them how to play better, they're going to be receptive to doing so. Because we've seen over the last few years that I think they just play the way they play, and that is what it is. There's no saving them. I don't think that's the case for Snoopy. Maybe we just haven't had enough time to see yet, but I do think that he's got an open mind in terms of improving and fixing up his mistakes, which is why I do give him more time. I did want to say on the Cammy point, I think it was, we scroll up the chat real quick here, Swag Magician made the point earlier that Slasher is a player like Insight looking for his Scrappy, which I thought was an interesting analysis just because Cammy the other day said in his Twitch chat, because he's been throwing in challenges, by the way. Maybe you expect it, but Cammy's been making some noise in challenges, definitely, with his play on the Boston Breach Academy, replacing Doug effectively on that team. And Cammy was saying that he thinks he plays better when he has like a traditional main AR alongside him. Like when he was playing with Insights, he felt like that was great for him because it freed him up and he didn't have to think like a main AR. He could just run out and fry because he knew Insight was going to make the right plays. And he felt like with Ghosty, because they were both kind of trying to be the main, it just wasn't really working. So just makes me think the way Sasha plays, that dynamic actually might make some sense. So I kind of like Trei's idea. Maybe you try some role changes, but if not, like I genuinely think Slasher Cammy can work. Maybe I'm biased.
Slasher Cammy is 100% the move they should go for. Even before the role changes. I think you have Cammy available. He's an asset that's sitting on your academy team, just frying every week. Might as well bring him up, give him a chance. Obviously, with this roster, because you just brought Asem in, you do have to unfortunately give them a couple more weeks to keep, outputting. They're 2-2. It's not chalked, right? They're not 0-5 like some team in the league. I don't know what team though. They're not 0-5. They're 2-2. So you got to give them some time to develop. But if you don't see much success, then you definitely have to consider, I think, first the Cammy, and then secondly role changes. But
listen, I'm just going to jump in real quick. I'm going to have to jump in real quick. This whole, we've got to wait and see how they work. These motherfuckers scrim 5 times a fucking day, 6 times a day, 7 times a day, every single day, 3 times. It's like that thing I said with Snoop. Like, if Snoop's making all these mistakes, what's going on in scrims? The same goes for every team. When did Asem get picked up? Before Major 2?
Yeah, before the start of the qualifiers. I think he was the first roster change, pretty much.
We can give teams a pass for if they pick up a player 3 days beforehand, but come on now. Let's start locking it in, bro. Because I played against a team that have made a change to 2 changes, in fact, because Vegas picked up Geo and changed Purj to a sub. So let's stop giving people this free pass. I do believe teams play and scrim so much and practice so much that if it's a 3-day thing, then yeah, for sure. But like you said, I think if we're going to save this Boston team, let's bring Cammy in. Scrap the role change, bring Cammy in, and let him, do what you said he wanted to do, Ace. Come in and fry with Slasher like you want someone looking over him and being that IGL. Let him, and then we can have that conversation, Ace. Let's say they do that, and Cammy still in frying, then it's a Cammy thing, or maybe it might just be a Slasher thing. But like I said, they're 2-2, but they don't look good.
Yeah, it's a tough. I don't know. Last point on this is it's a tough position to be in, to be 2-2, and then just made a change, 4 matches ago, and think to make another one. I feel like they're in a tough debacle, tough kind of middle ground pickle to be in right now, and they really have to they have to go into the gutter a little more, especially with their upcoming matches against, OpTic, FaZe, and Seattle. So OpTic, FaZe, these next 2 matches, I think if we see them lose to both of them decisively, then some activity is going to occur, whether right then or right after Major 2, some change is going to happen to Boston. But there's another team that I know the boys, all 3 of us, I know are unanimous, right? We have some disagreements here and there about certain teams like Boston and this and that. But there's one team that I know all 3 of us have decisively decided that need to blow this shit up. They are where the next major is. They're the Miami Heretics. And I'm going to give it quickly. I want to give it quickly over to Trei Zero to let us know his thoughts about the Miami Heretics. What's going on, Trei? Tell us about the Miami Heretics. How you feel about them?
Listen, I don't give a fuck. All right, I'm going to say this right now. I genuinely don't give a fuck if no one likes my opinion from the Spanish side of things. I wasn't wrong again. And unfortunately, all right, I got some passive-aggressive response from Heretics Methods, from the coach of them. Basically, it was another out-of-context clip in terms of me saying, you gotta look at the teams, all the changes. If they do all this, then you got to look at the coach. And now, listen, I'm not gonna be one of these people to lie. I don't give a fuck if you like me or don't. I really don't. I'll look you dead straight in the eyes right now. Stream, viewers, YouTube, podcast. Just know I'm looking at you. I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I really don't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. This team, I don't know how many changes they can make. We're going to keep swapping. And there's going to be a week where they go 2-0 and roast me. That's perfectly fine. But are they going to win an event? Are they going to come out and fry? No, they won't. Unfortunately not. That's what I'm going to say in it before the Spanish community come out and try and roast me again. It's an absolute... I don't know what more you want from me. I told you guys this wasn't going to work. I'm right again. Just like I'm right about many other things. It's like I've done COD for a job for fucking 8 years. And... you know, I played them 8 years straight. The Spanish players are not changing. The tactics don't change. Vamonos COD don't work. Same over. Same. You know what did I say the other day? Same shit. Different toilet. And I know a bunch of people agree with me, but they're too scared to say anything. Not saying it's you two. I'm just saying in general, no one's as harsh as I am, really, when it comes down to, you know, if you're my friend, you're my friend. But I'm gonna tell you as it is, it ain't gonna work. Apologies. You might have to start looking at getting some other people in.
All right. Rab, you want to cook or you want me to cook? You want to cook?
Honestly, Trey kind of said it all. You can go, Ace.
It's simple, man. If we take a look at Miami, Major 1 split versus Major 2 split, Journey was a more complete piece to the team. The one thing I will say, though, that you could refute my point with, that I do want to bring up, is that it was early on in the season. So teams are still learning, and the way that they play Spanish COD, where you just kind of run, run forward and just chow, early on in a game with not much strategy can work out well for you. But if you're Miami and you've seen the productivity of Eric Boom currently, who's sitting at a 0.8 with a 66 Slayer rating, lower than the entire team, the worst KD on the entire squad by far. I don't know how or why or what blackmail he has on the rest of the squad that he has not been replaced or swapped with Journey, wherever Real is, or with Real. But this guy is not, at least presently, currently ready for the league. You got to get Journey back on your squad and start getting CDL points before you don't make champs.
Please, may I just jump in real quick on topic of this? It is no shock that when a player gets dropped from Heretics and goes into challenges, they are infinitely better. Eric Boom was playing better in challenges. Journey playing better in challenges. And why is that? They're not playing Spanish COD. They're playing with Americans who, you know, evidently over the past few years play good COD. And they're in a structure and in a system where they don't play their style. They go into challenges. And I'm not saying they win in challenges or stuff like that, but I remember Eric actually frying before he went on this Heretics team. Numerous amount of times. So, you know, you can hate me all you want, but the proof is right there.
I mean, look at some of the numbers, all right, Ace. Like, look at the most recent series they played. And I know they played New York, but the damage dealt by Eric in the series was actually not the lowest in the league so far. I mean, what is it, 5,600 or something tragic? There's only 2 players in the league that have had lower damage than that in the series this year. One of them was Assault very marginally. The other one, people can probably guess, was Guerrillas, where they got slabbed by OpTic. Like, those are the only 2 performances this season that are worse than that from a damage perspective, which is actually quite impressive to be bottom 3 in the whole season. And, you know, especially because it's tough beating Guerrillas, you know, 5k damage to the series, sheesh, that was rough. But, yeah, I kind of agree with you, Trey. It's tough to see, but I just don't know what this whole politics is in the Spanish scene. That's what confuses me. Like, Journey feels like he's out and he's out for good. And I don't really know why, but that's the feeling I get. And there's like decent other Spanish players, such as Rencor, who I'll mention again. But there's decent other Spanish players they could go for, but it just feels like there's some weird politics involved. And I think, I don't know, I think they should. I want them to stick it out. I want them to stick it out with the Spanish COD thing because it's cool for the scene. But I know that Trei is right, fundamentally.
I think everyone knows I'm right, really. Like, yeah, they had a good split first time with Journey. Like you said, I don't know what the beef is, but if Journey makes your team better, that beef should be squashed regardless, or whatever's happened behind the scenes. That should be like, I literally compared it to me and Rated. We fucking hated each other, despised each other. But when we loaded in, headsets on, that was one of my best friends. We absolutely fried. It's just, I feel like right now COD's turned a little bit too soft, and people are not looking at their profession more in this instance. Like you said, you don't know what's going on with him, Rab, with Journey, but he feels like he ain't getting back into the team no matter how hard he does or no matter what he does, and it's gonna cost him. It really is going to cost them. You have to get, in my opinion, Journey and Real in. I know Ace is going to talk about Real. You've got to get him in as fast as you can. You've got to make a 2-team change, and I'd say probably do it before the major, because I mean, it's Spanish COD anyway. They know how they're going to play before. You don't even need time. You're just going to run straight back into the same shit. So you don't need time to get ready for it, because that's drilled in since birth, apparently. Yeah, that's all I got to say on the matter. Again,
I think
third time.
I just think Miami's clinging on to this Eric Boom performance against FaZe, where he did drop they lost 3-1, but he had a 1.04, led the team in damage, led the team overall. So I feel like they're like clinging on to potential, which is what a lot of the league is doing with people. 1 series they perform, 5 series they play bad, and it's like, oh, let's cling on to that one performance that he had because it's possible again. But since then, since that, I was just clicking through and stuff. Since then, he's been the worst person on the team by far, by like a pretty smooth margin. -21 the next series against Legion. And yeah, we saw against New York, he couldn't get a kill if you literally went behind somebody and they weren't looking at him. He wasn't getting kills. Two-man change is 100% necessary. Real, again, scouted by Clay. I mentioned this in the last show. The kid can shoot. He's scouted by Clay. Clay finds talent. You need to get this kid on your roster ASAP. And yeah, I don't know if Methods is sick, is a little has heard the show a little bit, and Trey saying he wants to take his coaching slot, but damn, man, they need a coaching change quick, because their strat on the map is it's just not there. It's not present. And as you go into this year, further and further and further, right? This is only Major 2. We got Major 3, 4, and Champs. This is just going to get worse and worse. And how does it get worse than 0-5? I don't know. But we're going to see it get worse, because teams are just going to keep getting better and better and adapting, while Miami just sticks to the same Spanish players because they can only speak Spanish in their comms. And it's just it's a gutter or a black hole that has no end in sight. And that's the scariest part for Miami. Let's talk about NY, though. Like on the other side of things, right? The bright side of things in this series. You have NY, who look revitalized. 5-0, looking just kind of stellar. Hydra shooting back, and I want to go to their Major 2 stats right now specifically. You know, Major 2, everyone on the entire team overall is above a 1.0. Or excuse me, everyone on the team is above a 1.1. So I don't know what they did after Major 1, after getting embarrassed during that whole, that Major 1 tournament, but it looks like New York is coming back with some fire, with some revitalization. Everything that we talked about a few weeks ago on the show, that their coaching staff and those players are going to get it together, it's pretty much been manifested, and it's been happening. They've looked a little bit chaotic early in this split with splitting some maps, right, with Carolina, with FaZe, which is not a big deal, but slamming the middle pack teams. So I think this New York team is on pace to be a real threat going into Major 2. In respawns consistently, and their search is looking looking as great as it has even since the first major, so that's not even their worry. Only person I would say that I want to see step up a few times that has some inconsistency issues is Dante Sib. Even though he's above a 1.1, like, I have to find some critique of a really good team, right? You still have to find somewhere where they could improve. So I'm not saying that he's playing badly. I'm just simply saying that there's certain maps where we see him, you know, look like the best player in the world, but then we see maps where he drops a 9 and 30. And you're very confused why he's dropping a 0.8 or a 0.7 out of nowhere in modes and maps where his team are frying, and he should just be coasting, dancing through the map, but it looks like he's the one struggling while the rest of the three are putting up numbers. But that's my only one critique I have of them. Dante needs to get a little more consistent. And he tweeted something, I think it was yesterday or today, or no, yesterday or the day before. I wish I had the tweet up, but I thought of it right now again. He pretty much said, which he said early on in the season as well, that, oh, I can make a mistake. It was an interview, he said it. He said early in the season, they tweeted yesterday. He said, I can make mistakes on the map, but my teammates are so godlike that it doesn't matter. But that mentality is really, really dangerous, and one that like a pro player like that shouldn't have. So again, my one flaw of this team, my one critique of this team is Dante's inconsistency, and secondly, this thought that he has that he's not only said once, but is now like double downing. So now that's why I bring it up, that he can make mistakes on the map and do whatever he wants and mess up rotations and whatever. And because his teammates are so good that it's going to be okay. I think at the major, when everyone's playing at the top of their game, those small mistakes are what could cost you a series, and will definitely cost you a series against those top 4 teams, top 3 teams.
I guess the question is that I have about New York. Well, this is the question the community has about New York. Are they onliners? Right. This is what people are currently saying. Because they got slammed on LAN. They come back to online, and bang, they're cooking. Unbelievable. I will say Hydra and Kiz as an SMG duo have looked basically untouchable in the last few matches they've played. And I do think that teams should be maybe more scared of playing New York than they actually are. And I think they will become the major. My personal feeling is that New York are actually legit right now. I think they will be able to replicate it this time going to LAN. And yeah, I don't really buy the idea that they're onliners personally, just because look at what they achieved last year. You know, yeah, they had a bad major 1. Often the first event of the year is a little bit strange. And to be fair, in that Rokkr series, there was a lot of server cheese going down. So it is what it is. But I think when they play OpTic, right, next weekend, although I think it's the weekend after, that is the series that is going to be quite telling, because that's going to show where they are and really how seriously you have to take the New York threat come to the major, because it really does feel to me that we again have a clear-cut top 4 in the league. And New York are making a very clear claim that, you know, even Sky said he thinks they're the best team as it stands. That's their perspective. FaZe think they're the best team. Toronto think they're the best team. OpTic probably think they at least can be the best team as well. So I think it's really interesting going into the major. And, you know, given that FaZe love to get second, I know people have been joking already about, like, you know, congrats New York Summer, there's Major 2 champs, but we'll see on that one. I've just been really impressed. Like, they're playing super clean COD, but then again, they have played some pretty dog shit teams that are only getting worse.
I mean, like you said, they're not onliners. We know this, but they went 6-1 in the first split. They're doing pretty much that again. They have beat FaZe as well. Let's not take that away from them. And then everyone else had just beaten who's in front of them that they should beat. I think the only gas I can give them is that they're looking good again, but we're going to have to see how it plays out at the major, because this happened last split, and then in the major they got top 12. And, you know, I don't even know what I would do if I was them. If I went 6-1, 7-0, whatever it is, and just got dead last at the major again, I would genuinely like you wouldn't even look at it and be like, oh, we need a change. Like, I don't even know what I would do. So I think the only thing I can really say about them is congratulations on looking as good as you do. But now we need to see it at LAN. And I'm not calling you onliners. I'm just saying that's the only way. The only thing that you fucked up on last split was the fact you got top 12 and people said you were ass. the only thing you can do better this time, you don't even have to win the event. You just have to come close to winning the event to not, you know what I'm saying, to have that, you know, not that title anymore. You know, I think third for them minimum is, you know, going to be the one that holds it over to me, that they're actually a serious team again.
Cut. At least clear cut, right? New York is very clear. And again, I want to bring one last thing about them before we hop over to the juice and the meat and potatoes of this show, which is the Minnesota and then FaZe conversation. But a huge contrast, a huge like difference between Major 1 and Major 2 on these Slayer ratings, the KDs, and all around, right? Major 1, Hydra 1.09, Kismet 0.92, Sib 1.03, Skies 1.12. Okay? Major 2 so far, Hydra 1.21, Kismet 1.23. That's the biggest difference from Major 1 and Major 2. Kiz playing a lot better in this game, getting comfortable. Sib 1.10, Skies 1.13. The entire team from top to bottom has leveled up into Major 2. I will check with other teams as well, but I think this is the only team where all 4 players have literally gotten better from Major 1 to Major 2 per stats. So New York is, with maybe Kiz was the X. I mean, he usually is the X factor, but Kiz being the X factor there and playing so much better this major, I think is what's made them look so much better. As long as they keep it into the LAN, they are someone who Toronto's got to look out for sure. FaZe got to look out for sure, and a real threat to take a chip at Major 2. But who is currently not a threat for Major 2 that I am not happy to talk about, but we definitely have to talk about? I'm going to sit this one out to begin with because I know there's going to be a lot of strong opinions before I go. But we got to talk about the Minnesota Rokkr, baby. We got to talk about...
Was I wrong, Rab? Hey, Rab, was I wrong?
This guy don't miss.
I know. Again, now you guys might think I've got a script or something like that. I really don't. The reason I have these strong opinions about these players and about when it's, you know, when they're checked and whatever like that is because I've been a part of it. Or I've seen it happen. I was a part of it. I've done this. So when I see a team, there's nothing more demoralizing than having a guaranteed series win versus a team that is rated higher than you to then absolutely choking. The way I see it is like my FaZe team at Champs versus 100 Thieves. That, you know, we don't have to talk about that, Trei. Yeah, that's okay. But that's what I'm saying. Obviously, we didn't have another event after, but after that, we knew we weren't teaming again after. We knew it was chalked, you know. Same reason right now. They looked very good versus OpTic. Now they just don't look great. It's what I said, bro. Like, the team's just mentally chalked, or like they just lost faith in each other after that OpTic series, and they won't admit it, and they might be pissed off or whatever like that. But it's right there in front of us. That's all I gotta say on it. You know, the roster change is needed, and I think we all agree on who the roster change is in for. Just to freshen up the vibes or something like that. You've got to do something. It was chalked when you lost to OpTic. Now we're here. Like, it's.
I even think the way that they lost to Thieves was like maximum demoralization, because they go down 2-0. They then bring it back and they're like, oh my God, we might do it. We might break the curse. Like, they were already thinking going into game 5, like, holy shit, this is the time. Like, we've been losing all these game 5s. We just win this one. We get the momentum back, hit the reverse sweep, back in business. Because let's not forget, Rokkr stage 1, they started out 0-4. They won the next game they played. They got to 1-4. They got to 3-4. They got top 4 at the major. This was their chance against a Thieves team, which is still pretty suspect, as we full well know. And here we go into game 5, and they had their opportunities, right? Like, they went up in the game. Obviously, Crimp clutches that 1v2 to close out the game. I don't know where Big Wake is looking. I think it was kind of fitting as well that Wake was the one to go down at the end of that series, because, you know, I know I roasted Priester for this earlier, but man, Wake just disappears on some maps. And I feel bad because Lamar has not looked this good since World War II. There's no doubt in my mind. And yet, the poor guy can't get any help in the AR category. Like, what am I watching right now? Linz, by the way, got completely fried against FaZe. Nobody's denying that. He had his worst series of the year. But fair play to Linz. He bounced back against the Thieves. He played well. Vivid does what he expected him to do. But it's just, if you can't win a game 5, what are you meant to do? Especially on this type of level when you're going to have close games against decent teams. To lose another criminal game 5 to a Thieves team that I still think is okay. They seem to like terminal search Thieves, but yeah, we watch their plays and you think, all right, maybe, as I think Rose was saying, they just have one strat basically, and fair enough, it's working. But Rokkr couldn't find a way to counter it, and yeah, it's just I don't think Wake has ever looked this bad. Lamar hasn't looked this good in the CDL era. Wake has never looked this bad in the CDL era since the CDL started, since he's coming to the league.
First of all, before Ace has a go, because I know he said he doesn't want to, but he wants to have a go. I know he does. Credit to LA Thieves again. Just before Ace has a complete breakdown. But credit to Thieves. We came in. We said that win against the last. I can't remember who they played before. If someone come for, was it Seattle? I can't remember. But the win they had before, we just sat there and we was like, I want to give them some time. And I'm not saying they look good. Like you said, they do look suspect, but Afro's coming back. He's looking good again. Finishes this series with the highest KD. Nasty not having the greatest of matches, but still has 18,000 damage. So he's still, he's not dropping a stinker and doing stinker damage. Yeah, I just want to shout out to them because they're actually looking like they're having fun. Nasty's got some memes on Twitter of him throwing himself back in his chair. He done that stuff with my team. He's got to stop it. It does check you out a little bit. You're sat there playing, you lose the round, and Nasty's just thrown himself back and just done a backflip off his chair because he's got whiplash. But yeah, no, shout out to them, man. I'm happy for him, man. I'm happy for him, even though they do look a bit suspect. I'm happy for him. But Ace, you may cry. You may cry.
All right, Ace has been holding this off. He's been sitting there. He's been thinking, "Down, do I have to talk about this?" But the time has come.
All right. This Rokkr loss is the most criminal loss of the season. A loss against OpTic to Control was embarrassing. It was a scam. But this is a different level. Lamar above a 1.0, playing well, didn't start out well, but started frying towards the end. Linz plus 14. Vivid 1.0, what you expect from Vivid. He had some crazy kills in the latter half of the series. But then you have a glaring issue. 0.84 with Wake. And I know I said that that stats are not the only thing you look for. But truly, when you watch this series, there were just moments where Wake seems like he's just not getting kills he should. He's not moving the way he should.
They brought this guy in for stats.
Essentially, and that's the other half of this too. We talk about Boston's problem with pacing and this. Lamar should be the one that's playing the slasher role, right? The slow AR, the inside role, the guy who's cement, concrete booted into the ground turreting. But he's turreting while also now having to scrap kills around because Wake keeps dying. Maybe he's not even, he has the worst damage in the lobby pretty much too. So he's maybe making people a little hurt. But Lamar, Linz, and Vivid are having to clean up the mess. When the roles are getting messed up. Lamar can't play his role properly when he doesn't have a secondary AR playing his Slayer role properly. So the structure of the team currently is not what it was intended when this roster was formed. As weird as the roster was when people saw it on paper initially, when the season started. It's unfortunate because the team has shown so many glimmers of hope and greatness against top teams. But it's truly, and I think Rab mentioned this a couple of weeks before, that there's like a line, right? There's a boundary where you're either on this side of the top 4 or you're not. Rokkr is right behind it, but cannot find the step over it. There's no matter what they do, they keep trying to jump above, but they keep losing these game 5, close series. But at a certain point, when you keep losing close series, was it close or did you lose? You get what I'm saying? And Trei was making this point last week where he said, if you take every team to 5, but you lose all of them, you're still an 0-12 team or 0-11 team. This is kind of what's happening with Rokkr. It's like, yeah, you keep every series close, but at the end of the day, you lost them. You're losing them, and there's a glaring issue of why you're losing them. I don't know what it is with Wake. I think, I mentioned with some of the other players like Cammy and stuff too, maybe you have to go to challengers and get some confidence again. Maybe you're lost a little bit in this new system. Maybe you haven't played with a player like, a systematic player like Accuracy before. Maybe that's the case. Go get yourself some confidence possibly. Take some time. And Rokkr 0-5 need to do something ASAP. I mean, I don't think again, this is not intel. I don't know. I've been in LA for a bit now, so I don't know any new information. I wasn't there for the matches. I haven't heard from Lamar. Don't assume this is intel. But knowing how they work, I don't assume they're going to make a change before Major 2. I would assume they go to Major 2, play it out, presumably from losers at this point. I mean, it's unless a miracle of God happens.
It's guaranteed, right?
I'm not sure. I think it might be guaranteed, but unless something magical happens, they're going to take this to Major 2, see what happens, and then at this point, from what it looks like right now, yeah, Wake might be the guy that needs to take a second and get some confidence in challengers. And who they bring in, yeah, Cammy's a great shout if he's available from that Boston Academy team. I don't think Boston.
I love this, bro. The Cammy redemption arc is so funny. I got clowned on so hard when I said that Cammy should come back. Well, everyone's gassing him up.
I said it's a comfortability thing, though.
Yeah, I think Cammy with Slasher or Cammy with Lamar is a good mix. That's an intelligent mix when you have a leader like that and a player, a complementary AR duo, right? That works together. So I don't know. In my opinion, overall, it's an embarrassing showing out of Rokkr this split. I want to click on their team stats as well one time just to show Major 2 side. But like, yeah, again, you have Slayer rating, a clear standout person who's not slaying appropriately. And Vivid and him are pretty even in terms of KD, but I know it doesn't have damage here, unfortunately, but damage per 10 minutes, there you go. Vivid 4,300, Wake 3,900, Lin's a little lower, but we know he gets effective kills on the map, so it's okay. Yeah, Big Wake is not supposed to be the OBJ player. He's supposed to be the guy getting out there, getting the kills, but something systematically is wrong with this team, and they need to fix it ASAP. And unless
DJ Rakenwood wants to see the S&D stats.
S&D stats?
I think the funny thing,
pretty bad all around.
I think the funny thing is, Ace, about this team is that we said Awakening was only good at control, and the 2 times that they won control, he legit fried. The 2 times they lost control, when he fried, he had a 1.5 and a 1.6 or something like that, and he absolutely fried, and they still lost. Well, if you look at this control, he got a 0.85 and they won 3-1. So even the game mode he's frying in, they're still losing, and the game.
There seems to be no correlation between Wake's KD and the team results. Like, I swear this has been the case for the last few years. It doesn't matter whether Wake is like positive or negative; they have the same chance to win or lose.
That's my
impact
point,
is zero.
Yeah. That's my point. Yeah, me and Ace were sat there like, oh, he's frying in control, but they're still losing. And now he's lost. Now he's not been fried, but he's not over a 1. He's like a 0.85. And they win the map comfortably, 3-1. And it's like, all right, what has he contributed in the hard points where he's getting pissed on and they lose? To then the controls where he's slamming and they still lose. To now the point where he's not slamming in the controls and they win.
And it's not like he's turning up game 5 search and destroy. My man goes missing.
It's hot. Like, maybe this game just isn't for him, bro. I'll be the one to say it. It might just be a not for him thing.
It's not the game, man. It's not the game. Listen. It's if you want to take it really an assessment here, it's the fact that now, in my opinion, if you go back and watch highlights of Wake, it's snaking. Dun dun dun! Revealed. Oh my God! Everyone's minds. Listen, everyone's no. It's the GAs. It's the GAs. The GAs. What? No.
But you know what I mean. It's a game we're playing.
It's the what?
I get it.
Rap. Those are not the same. It's the fucking game. It's not the game. It's the GAs.
I'm not trying to cook you. I'm gonna. I like the take.
If he could snake, and everyone was snaking again, he would be playing very, very well. And if you watch,
are you telling me is that he was the best snaker of all time?
I think it was a big part of his gameplay. And if you watch it, this is the difference. This is why I go back to the Snoopy.
It requires no brain, to be fair.
Wait. This is why I go back to the Snoopy example or whatever. This is the difference between watching COD actually and just staring at stats. If you watch Awakening play, watch his POV, go back to any match, this whole split, or even the last one. The way he takes gunfights is he'll prone. He'll go crouch really quick. He'll duck and dive. He'll not just take a gunfight like most people do. He'll duck and dive and as if he needs to snake before he takes it. It's like an interesting built-in mechanic into his gameplay that he feels like he needs to pump. He needs to prone. He needs to do something in order to movement to chow. It's very interesting, and if next time you watch, again, next week, who do they play next, right? They play.
I mean, he's also looking the completely wrong way every single time.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is the point. It's are we not going to talk about the Saudi Q cheese? There's more to it than this. I think there's two parts to it. I think you're right in part, Ace, that snaking is a bailout mechanic because it means you have to have no game knowledge of where they're coming from. You just snake the heady and then you see them and you shoot straight. When you don't have to snake, you actually have to know where to look, which is part one. And if you've got no sound EQ, you don't know where they're coming from. So that's part two. So,
One thing I've got gathered from this conversation is he is the cheesiest pro player of all time.
He's got to be up there. There's no way he's not up there.
Sound EQ, minimap MW 2019. Yeah, no.
Wait, but you could be cheese and be good, right? You can talk about MMA, right? I know a lot of people are UFC fans. John Jones was notorious, the GOAT, for doing this that finger thing into people's eyes, right? If anyone watches UFC, you can play the system for what's legal, but at this time you can get exposed. Now he's kind of getting exposed for the things that were okay before. And I made this argument with certain players prior that they grew up in the era of COD that is not the classic era. It is the snaking, sound EQ, no minimap. They came up in this game and they were rewarded for doing this cheese shit, the slide canceling, which is a little bit there now, but not as bad as Black Ops 4 and things like that, right? So it's just a different type of game where I think doesn't suit Wake and these little, not only the game itself, because again, we've talked about it again as well. The older players, the more classic players are rewarded in this game because of spawn systems, and it's more like a classic older school COD. Wake is one of those guys who's came up and succeeded in these newer type of games. So being exposed not only in the type of game, the GAs, and play style all around, it's just not a good game for Wake all around. And I think Rokkr would benefit by here's the one thing I will say. Last thing I'll say on this point. Last thing. You say Cammy, right? We say all these guys. I think that Rocker's biggest flaw, fundamentally, is their S&D. It's not their respawn. They can't buy an S&D. If you look at their S&D KDs, 0.85, 0.7, 0.86. You look at their wins and losses, right? Look, wins and S&D over the entire season, they only have 9, but they have 14 losses. They win literally only 50% of the time in S&Ds. There's 2 S&Ds a series, baby. You got to give yourself a chance. You got to bring in a strong S&D player, even if he's not the best. You could bring in in this case, this is one of those times where a Hixie, not saying Hixie's the guy, but just say that type of player who drops a 0.8 or something, but gives you X factor type movement on the map, has good comms, and can help out your S&D is going to be more impactful than a super big Slayer, right?
Why is Wake carrying the bomb, bro? Are we going to talk? I mean, I think their team is weirdly set up in terms of from the objective perspective.
What do you mean? He can't get a kill. He can at least get a plan.
I know. Maybe that's true, but I feel like, I don't know. I don't understand why they've got away carrying ball. I mean, maybe fair enough, but I think it's funny.
Nicest way possible. The guys look at it like the guy's looking behind him when there's 4 people in front of him. You know, Lamar's.
At least he's got a job that way.
A whole team's been three-pieced. And we watched it in an S&D one time when they got 1v2. Lamar got a shot in the back and he was still pre-aiming in front of him. I think me and you were watching that series, Ace. And we're just like, yo, what the hell is he looking at? I think he just needs a refresh. Like, you know, I see people like, you know, say wild take, whatever. Like, I just say it how it is, man, because I genuinely don't care. Like, I think all of these things are coming up. You don't like me, it's whatever. But all these things are coming up with the snake in and the cheese and stuff like that. Yeah, he might be the cheesiest player of all time. But right now, like I said, like we're not even looking the right way. So I think, like you said, Ace, I really don't believe any team's going to make a change before Major 2 here. I think it's just too late. You know, teams already, 0-5. They play 5 matches or whatever like that. So obviously, they're going to take into this. And you know what? They'll probably end up getting second or something just to piss us all off. Team 6, same shit happens again. It might be a reverse New York. I've seen it happen before, so I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah,
I'd be shocked.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I really don't.
Okay, again, I know it's the last thing, but this is truly the last thing. Wake is 47th on overall KD. He's in, like, the people around him, for example, are Journey, Joe Deceives, Kremp, Fellow. Like, he's in that ballpark. Yes, it's only 0.1 of difference here, but, like, he's definitely on the lower end of the league. And, again, just the only important thing here is that he was brought in to be a Slayer. It's unacceptable, just bar none. Screw the snaking, screw everything else. If you're brought in for your role as a Slayer to complement the slow AR and you're not doing your role, there's a fundamental problem. That's it. Bar none, fundamental problem with the team. The system's off, and basically everything the team was built on is now having to be reconstructed because you're not playing your role properly. So, I don't know. That's what it is.
I was going to say, I just want to chime in on what someone said in the chat. It said, Rokkr's actual record this split is 0-2 because they've played FaZe, OpTic, and NYSL. I mean, listen, end of the day, they're 0-5. Like, I'm sure they're not sat there thinking, oh, it's all right, lads, don't worry, we're only 0-2. The other 3 matches didn't count. They should have fucking smoked us anyway. It works for every single sport ever. And that's why other sports teams make changes. And NBA teams, for example, when they have a terrible fucking season, they try and get better players to the best they can to do it. Like, they're 0-5. They're being pissed on now. It's unfortunate. They need a change.
I'm the Rokkr lover, right? Of course. Like, it's just obvious I'm cheese mozzarella provolone for this team. And even to the guy in chat who said that, like, I appreciate you trying to make a concession for Rokkr, but it made sense early on with Toronto, like, 3-2 Toronto, 3-2 OpTic, right? But then now they got 3-0'd by FaZe. If they took FaZe to a 3-2 as well, I would be on your side, right? I would potentially try to be on your side here and be like, yeah, look, Rokkr's taking every team to a game 5. They're still competitive. They're just got to get over that hump. I would argue with that. But now they've lost 3-0 to FaZe and they lost to fucking Thieves. There's no argument anymore. I can't even be on the argument I want to be on because their last 2 matches, they got smoked by a top team that they shouldn't have. And then they lost to Thieves. It's over. GG's. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Argument. Bye-bye. See you.
On the level, right? Because from my angle, if you start the season and you're meant to be a dog shit team and you played like OpTic, FaZe, Ultra to start out or New York or whatever, to start out your run and you lose all 3 games, it's like, okay, whatever. Let's see what happens when you play the proper teams. But they just got top 4 of the major. And this is like, it's a mentality thing as well from the team's perspective. They got top 4. The intention next event should be, let's get top 3. Let's go one better. Like, we can't just be satisfied losing to the better teams. Like, surely the whole point is that you become the best of the rest and then you start actually taking some steps. If you just get slammed by the top teams and just kind of disregard it, it's not helpful. And obviously, I agree with what you say that it's not just they've lost to those teams anyway. They got slammed in this series as well.
But this is my point. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like, what's the point in having a league with these top players on these teams? And I'm talking like Lin's, Awakening, and stuff like that have been like top players in the past. What's the point of even talking about it if we're just going to say, "Oh, it's all right." The other 8 teams, they're not better than the top 4. They've got no chance. There's no point even talking about it. They're 0-6. Yeah, but they've played everyone better than them. No, everyone in this league should be, and the fans should look at this too. Everyone should look at this as that everyone needs to beat everyone to be the best. It doesn't matter if OpTic have a better looking team on paper. This is how it is. If you are 0-5, it doesn't matter who you've played. You are still 0-5. Even if you are literally bottom, lower tier team, Epsilon, like from World War II or IW, for example, when they went 0-18 in the league, it doesn't matter who they played. Yeah, it doesn't matter who they played. They're competing to be the best in the league. So I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter who you've played. You're still 0-5. I would say the same even if it was FaZe going 0-5 or OpTic 0-5. Like, it don't matter. Everyone's in it to win, and they're not winning. That's the bottom line.
I'm going to say W, Dan, Ghosty, and Nasty as well. Great pickups. Kremp filling in the X Factor role. So got to give credit to LA Thieves as well. Yeah, I know Trey already said it, but Nasty, 18,000 damage, leading the lobby with a .83. That's a perfect example of how stats don't matter, bro. He's .83. But
damage matters.
Yeah, but he put damage in the entire lobby in every map. That's what you want to see. Like, if that's Nasty's role to just shoot everybody, God bless. Get a point A, but put in the most damage. Great moves. Ghosty, like I said, #1 most underrated player, and I'm going to continue on that. He's not one of the most underrated. He is the most underrated for sure. Ghosty is great at this game and great at COD in general. So I want to give credit to LAT too for pushing a map 5 against a Rokkr team and losing the map 3 and map 4, and then being resilient and winning that map 5 in a pretty commanding fashion. So got to give credit where credit's due as well to the LAT little.
I'd love to like gas up Afro hard as well, because I think Afro played really well this series.
Yeah.
Showed glimpses of the Afro that we know he can be, but they played Rokkr, so I ain't gassing him yet.
Jesus, that's fucked.
I think you just got to say congratulations on the progress, because we would have, like 2 weeks ago, we would have wrote them off as still being the worst team in the league, or now they're actually winning hard points, and we're not looking at them like 1-13. Like we can gas up Nasty, most deaths out of everyone too, so not slowing down at all whilst doing all this damage, making it easier for the sub players like Kremp and Afro. And like we got to gas up Kremp too. We looked at him. He didn't start off hot at all. Let's be real. He didn't start off the greatest, but he's finished, 1.03. And what's nice to see is that the 3 people that do finish positive all have very, very, very similar damage. So I think it's just consistency.
I did this with you remember, obviously I did this the first couple of weeks with the last week with some of the players, but I want to do for Afro as well and give him his credit, because besides the map 3 where they were all getting piss slammed, right? Like everyone was getting shit on, and Rokkr had a great control. He had a 19 and 27, right? Take away that 19 and 27, which I know is cheese, absolutely, but still, what is that? 69 and 50. What's 84 minus 27? What the hell is that, bro? 57. Yeah, 57. So 69 and 57. What is that, like a 1.2, 1.3?
She cooked, baby. Let's go. I love this mentality.
So besides the control where the whole team was getting absolutely raw dogged, Afro was actually having one of the best series, probably his best series of the year. Extended out 5 games. He was playing very well. So I've talked a lot of shit on Afro, but credit where credit's due always. And yeah, he was cooking. So hopefully we get to see this kind of steamroll going on. And maybe the EU connection is back with Nasty. Maybe that's what it is. Trey again being right.
I told you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trey always being right about everything. So wait, Rue said 69 and 57 is a 1.2. Yeah. So basically he had a 1.2 in the series, to be honest. Like, if you take away that map 3 where everyone got shit on, he had a 1.2. Fuck it. Put 1.2 there. Breaking point. Update these stats, baby.
I love this new thing you put in Ace. It's honestly the greatest thing ever.
You like it, dude?
Like,
I think the funny part about this that I really like is that when you do it on the positive side, it's quite easy, right? You take the map they got shit on, you take it out. But like if you do it on the positive end, it doesn't really work. Like, you take out the map where they fry and you say they're actually dog shit. Like, I just don't understand that. You know, like, what's the
but the point, I think, you know, let's just like dwell on that one real quick. The point when we done it to Awakening is that he didn't, like, his hard point, he didn't know how to play it, but Control, he knew how to play it clearly. And then, I mean,
I'm all for it.
I know, I love it. It's great. Honestly, we make we make someone that's playing bad look good, and we
make someone that's playing good.
We haven't done it the other way around yet. We need to figure that out, but we can work on that.
Speaking of bad, though, speaking of some bad drama, some interesting wildness, let's talk about Atlanta and Toronto. We do have a special guest joining us as well. Let me big screen this. We have a special guest joining us as well. He is the guy behind the CDL's best social media and a lot of the memes that just go around and do insane numbers. We got one of the best, one of the greatest. Slide in, baby. We got Gursh, man.
Yeah, we got a crazy link up today. Ace walked in. He said, "There's too many British people on the podcast, bro. We gotta balance it out." So had to pull me in, bro.
But this guy was sitting there the whole time and just slides over. What is this?
Yeah, he's been watching the whole time on his phone, texting in Twitch chat too. I know this guy. He ain't slick.
This guy's just
I know.
right now.
Technically, I am in his office. Right now, and he set this. He allowed me to be here. So FaZe, Worsh, of course. But we're gonna have him, here for the conversation about FaZe, about the drama, and I mean, I think there's definitely got to be some memes that you couldn't have put out that you wanted to make with this entire drama. I'm just saying, but let's jump into the series, though, bro. Let's jump into the series. Let's go to the the Atlanta Toronto. There it is. First reactions, guys. Rab, Trei. First reactions.
Okay, I can go on this one. I picked Toronto to win this. Trei cooked on the predictions this day. As soon as I saw the map set, I'm like, bro, what are we doing? It's so chalked. Like, Toronto took the piss this series, basically. They picked maps that they ain't good on and FaZe are the best on, and they squared up. And I respect it in some ways, but also it shows that Toronto literally don't care about the state of online qualifiers at the moment. Like, they're quite happy to just go in here and play purely for practice and get pretty much slammed by FaZe. Like, all of these maps in the series, even the Rio Hardpoint, that's a FaZe favored map. The High Rise Search, that's a FaZe favored map that I didn't even get to play. Karachi was phenomenal for FaZe in the series they played, the series before this one. Rio Search could probably go either way, but I mean, Vegas slammed them 6-0 on that map the other day, Toronto. And then High Rise Control, FaZe are like the best offensive team on the map in the game as far as I'm concerned. So I think Toronto were just asking for trouble here. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens next time they play, presumably on LAN. Not just because of the outer game stuff, but also just because of the way they're going to screw up on LAN again, right? Like, what maps are they going to choose? What's the plan here? Like, obviously, Toronto looking to try and expand the map pool to some degree. I guess Toronto's plan was play them on their maps, and if we beat them, they're going to be demoralized. But it probably ended up the other way around.
I'm hoping we don't see like an egotistical Toronto in terms of like you said, Rab, they just ego child the living fuck out of these maps. And we've known it from Scrap since the new spawn update came out that the team ain't a big fan of it. So what I don't want them to do is, and I'm not saying they are before anyone, roast me or anything like that. I'm sick of it. I just don't want them to come in here and just, like you said, just not give a fuck just because they're them, and then just ego chow, FaZe, who are, they're not a bottom team. They're not a bottom league team. It's FaZe, guaranteed second places regardless. Always in the finals. And I just don't want to see them, get this egotistical, like, we can beat anyone on any map, like, let's not even think about it type shit. And credit to FaZe, yes, I feel like I got to start getting a percentage of people's prize money, winnings, salaries, whatever that, because when I bet for you, you win. All right, so it doesn't matter. So, I'll hit up a Beezy. Yeah, I'll give him my PayPal. I helped you guys out. I made sure Toronto gave you your maps, every single one of your maps to be exact. But it's nice to see that Toronto aren't unstoppable as well. I would have been pissed off if FaZe, lost 3-0, and I'm just like, oh, here we go again. But and then the drama on top of it, like.
I will just say before, like Ace and Gursh go, like getting to the top is the easy part. It's like it's the staying at the top, which is the challenge. And I mean, I don't know if Toronto are giving me confidence that they're gonna do that for the long term with the way the last couple of weeks have gone.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, people's main takeaway was obviously that Toronto controlled the map set, which was evident from before the match even started. And I get the strategy from Toronto, right? You're getting your reps in on maps you wouldn't normally play, but also you're letting FaZe play their picks, and Rab, as you said, you potentially beat FaZe on their own maps and check them that way. But it's kind of leaving you with the thought of they did that, but at what cost? Because now you're in a situation where FaZe has beat Toronto, and when we just came off a major where FaZe had a grand final where they went toe to toe with Toronto, people's theory about FaZe right now is, oh, maybe they just have a mental block in grand finals. You are now giving them the confidence that they can beat you. It might be just an online qualifier for you, but dog, you were up against Simpa, BZ, Celium, and Drazah, bro. Like, I'm not gonna compare them to a player that wouldn't be as good, but like, shit, dude, like you are now giving them that juice, you're giving them that threat, and fuck, you're even giving them the crowd to root behind them now. Like, the drama is whatever, but I think this is a really important victory for FaZe because you losing to FaZe means so much more than you losing a one-off to Miami or another team out there.
Cheese, mozzarella, provolone. You got to say that or you're getting fired. Fuck out of here. Listen, this is actually, to me, a Toronto game plan play, right? Hear me out here, right? COD is cerebral, right? COD is cerebral. You do want to see what the other map pool is like. And not only that, before the major, now you can learn from how FaZe plays maps. You now have actually like the strats on Rio that FaZe have implemented. You can learn from them now. You have control high rise, which again you don't play much of, but you learn how a team that's better than you plays it in a match. Karachi is the only one that I'm a little bit shooketh about. A little bit shooketh because this is Toronto's one of their best maps, right? This is one of Toronto's best hardpoint maps. The fact that they got beat on it now, that is the only glimmer of worry that I see in this series, right? The rest of it, I think, is just a troll by Toronto to have some fun and expand out, learn, and see what FaZe are doing on these new, especially on Rio. They want to see how FaZe played it, I'm sure. Scrims play a lot differently than matches, so that's 100%. Everyone can agree on that. But them losing the Karachi, how they did, to me is, I hate you so much. I hate this fucking dude. This Yap shit is crazy. I'm gonna make so much money on this Yap shit though. Don't worry. Merch coming soon. Don't worry. Cult merch from Trei Zero and Yap merch coming from me. Don't worry. But listen. Yeah, no. This Karachi loss is criminal. Celium had an insane map, but they finally look exposed. I know. Gursh and Rab were saying a little bit like, oh, they look exposed, this and that. But no, the only map is this map 1. If FaZe can build on winning these respawns against Toronto, it's troubling because Toronto can't win at control. For a team that's so goddamn good at this game, they are so bad at control. It's actually unbelievable and makes zero sense of how bad they are at control. But I want to click like we can even look at their stats, like their team stats.
To be fair, that's an interesting point, right? Because back in Major 1, the only maps they lost in the tournament were 2 invasion controls to FaZe. They won every other map they played in the tournament, I'm pretty sure. They throwed literally everybody, and they won every hardpoint, every search. They only lost controls. And at the time, it was like, oh, invasion control, mozzarella, provolone, cheese, cheese, ace the stocks when you know how it goes. But now you look back at it and you're like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, so so again, looking at Major 1 or overall, right? If you look at hardpoint and S&D losses, there's 1-1-1, and then specifically Rio is like their weak point because they have 2 losses on Rio S&D, so that's specific. Rio S&D is probably where they are going to start vetoing because they can't play it that well. But then specifically what glares out and stands out is their control. They have 10 wins in control, but also 6 losses. It's their worst game mode by far. If FaZe can catch up in respawns and know they can take a Karachi or an invasion, now if you're Toronto, you're beatable because you're going to lose control. You already lost one. S&D is up in the air. And Hardpoint now, if you're beatable, you can fall off really fast. All these top 3-4 teams are neck and neck with how good they are, how close they are. It's not Major 1 anymore where Toronto looks like a completely separated front of the pack team. Major 2 has brought everyone down to life, has brought Toronto back to reality, and a lot of teams have learned coming into this next split. I actually think Toronto have a lot to be worried about, specifically because of their control. And if they start to slip at all in Hardpoint, it's GG's for them. I think they fall into that top 3, top 4, and have a chance to actually not look like that team from Major 1 and lose out in Major 2 earlier than anyone expects.
I think it's like, you can go Trei if you want.
I was just going to say, like, I understand where you're coming from about expanding map pool, but you don't expand your map pool versus FaZe. That's dumb. That is dumb. Just backing off to your point, I'm not calling you dumb, by the way. I'm just saying in general, like, if that's their plan, like, if that's their plan, then it's a terrible plan, which I don't think it is their plan, honestly. I just genuinely think that they probably are the better team and they're going to win. Just piggybacking off your point, though, Ace, about how close these teams are. What if their plan, like, you know, you're playing FaZe on their better maps, why would you even risk that if that's the plan of if these teams are so close in Major 2 and how close it is to be first, second, third, or fourth? Why would you even give the second best team in the game that confidence to even push forward against the number 1 seed? And it's not like it was a 3-2, it was a 3-0 slamming. So that was my point in terms of why would you even let them have the chance to even go toe-to-toe with you or even just slam you like they did. It didn't make sense to me.
I always do think, like, the mentality for series, I can go, I mean, to what Gursh was trying to say earlier, and he was making a good point, that I feel this with Rokkr, right? If you go game 5 with Rokkr right now, us 4 could spawn in against Rokkr game 5 and would feel confident we're going to beat them because you just know they're going to crumble in the game 5, right? And it's the same story. It's like, from a football analogy, it used to be the case where Manchester United at Old Trafford, they were unbeatable within reason. But all of a sudden, they started to lose, and teams would come to Old Trafford feeling that they could actually win. And that mentality shift was massive for the way that those things were perceived. And it's the case in other sports as well. And it's the same thing with Toronto. Like, other teams will look at Toronto now as being beatable. The way they've lost this series, the fact that their control is somewhat suspect. If I'm a team that's like 5th, 6th or something and I'm playing Ultra, I'm not thinking, holy shit, like, hope I don't get 100 Point Club map 1. I'm thinking, you know what, let's give this a go. And as soon as that kind of facade starts to break somewhat, which is inevitable, but as soon as it does, all of a sudden, Toronto's life gets much more difficult in every single series they play. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially when they play OpTic. I'm pretty sure that happens like maybe the weekend after this or this weekend or something.
Okay. I want, again, Trei's I don't know. Again, it's to learn. I want to emphasize this point is so important. Trei, as a pro player, wouldn't you want to expand your map pool against the one team that can beat you so you can learn what they do on those maps?
Not how close it is. No, that is so dumb.
Why?
Because then you just, what's the point of expanding it? That's what scrims are for. Scrims are for expanding your map pool and then trying it out against a lesser ranked team. That's you, like, that team could be better than you on that map.
Fair,
like,
but do scrims and matches play the same?
Well, no, but you play how you practice. It's like you know, when you interview a team after they look better after a major, what have you been working on in scrims? If they suck at control, then they work at control. My point is that if they're gonna expand their map pool, do it against a mid-table team, not FaZe Clan, who just went grand finals with you and are, you know, by far one of the most consistent best teams in the game. That was my point.
Yeah.
You don't expand your map pool versus second seed. When you are first seed, you do not expand your map pool against second seed.
Who else?
That is the ego chow of a lifetime that you just don't do.
Who else could you learn from when you're top seed? Do you think Ultra gain anything from expanding their map pool against Carolina?
You think they expand their map pool after a loss?
No, but you walk back. Okay. Let me rewind here. Do FaZe look better or do Toronto look worse?
I mean, this is my argument here is not going to go anywhere because I am like I've done this, you know, like we expanded our map pool, but we never done it against teams that are better than us or close to us. Never.
Okay, that's fine though. But I'm saying this: FaZe got better because they lost Major 1, and they can pick up on watching VOD, seeing what other teams do, top teams against them. When you have a new map in like Rio, you want to see what top teams are doing and see how they play the map and see if it's viable. Because if you play against Carolina, it's not reality and you're not learning anything. This is what my thought process is with why Toronto would want to do this. Because they're not in any. Do you think Toronto and FaZe don't really give a shit whether they're first, second, third, or fourth seed? They're in winners. Whoever they get, they're gonna beat. You know what I'm saying? Like in that first round, they don't really care. They'll be fine. I think OpTic is the only one that have a little bit of worry because of their lackluster S&D game of round 1.
I mean, I also do not think this was an ego chow because with the drama on Twitter, if this was an ego chow, no one would have cared. If they were expanding the map pool, they would not have cared. By the tweets that Scrappy done, it is by far they did care. It was terrible VOs, and
I got one last thing.
That's
I got just one thing before Gursh talks. They were playing with fucking fidget spinners mid map. Do you think they were taking it that serious? That's all I have to say. They were playing with fidget spinners while they were losing. So
yeah, I mean, listen, they're assholes. We know this. They are very cocky. That is their personality.
I get what both of you guys are saying, but I kind of agree with Trey here because yes, you do want to learn from other top teams, but that is crucially what scrims are for because typically like your matches against big teams are must wins, right? Like yes, Toronto do want to get better at other maps, but the glaring hole to their game that you pointed out, that Rab pointed out, that Trey pointed out, that all of you guys agree on is their control.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't have to be FaZe Clan to be a good control team. We've had years like fucking Vanguard where LAG were absolute shit as usual, right? My bad LAG, but they were breaking S&D streaks, right? Or we had Vegas with Clay last year, right? There are other teams out there that are very formidable in control, whether it's scrims, whether it's in matches. I can't pull up the fucking team records right now, but I'm sure you can find one, right? You're not sacrificing your in-game or out-of-game against FaZe by expanding your map pool against one of those shittier teams.
Yeah.
Like I think the risk was too big, and if anything, they just ruined it by adding the personal element too. I mean, I'm not gonna speak on it, but all I'm saying is the last time Scrap got personal.
I think it's time we speak on it, ladies and gentlemen.
No. All I'm saying is Scrap. Like I fuck with Scrap, but the last time he got personal about shit was right before Grand Finals and Champs.
All right, listen. Before we go into that, I just want to say this ego challenge thing about this thing. We look at it. Look at them against Paris. They played Rio S&D and got slammed 6-0. I guarantee if that's them expanding their map pool, they would not play them again on it. They're just cocky. They're just cocky assholes, which is great. I love it.
Well, I think part of that idea, before we get into I know everyone's foaming at the mouth of the drama, which we will get to, trust. We are all foaming too. But I will say that, like, you have to play Rio against a top team to know you don't want to play it again. And again, they didn't even play that badly. It was 6-5. It was a contested S&D. It wasn't like they got slammed. So actually, I would think Toronto would probably take it back. Here's what I think is going to happen, if I could predict the future. Toronto, I think, take it back to the drawing board, learn from their mistakes, and in the next couple of weeks, who do they play? Toronto play...
No, that was my point, Rob. That was my point. They ego chowed. They played Rio versus Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got slammed. And then... by the worser team and got better at it. They didn't have to play FaZe on it to get better at it. You know what I'm saying? They got 6-0'd by Vegas and then thought, you know what, we're actually not, let's work on this. Oh, look, we might be decent at this. Let's play FaZe on it. They didn't need to play FaZe on the better maps to get better. They got 6-0 slammed, probably went back to the drawing board and was like, oh, let's try this. Oh, we've been out, we've played some S&D scrims. We look okay on it. And then we'll play FaZe on it, see how that goes. See if we're confident on it now. They got slammed by Vegas on it.
Last question to pose before we move on. Last question. Do you think if Toronto picked their actual map set they would have beat FaZe?
Honestly, that's a good question I couldn't answer. Because FaZe are very good. And with them, it's a toss-up between online for me. You know, if you said at an event, I think Toronto would beat FaZe at an event. Right, if we're just judging it off how good they are. With this new patch, I think it's actually pissing Ultra off, if you want me to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of tweets from Scrap, and he's actually getting infuriated with the new patch and stuff like that.
Okay.
Alan, very questionable online. I couldn't tell you, but I'm also a FaZe fan in terms of I do think they are like the most consistent in the game. But do I see him beating Ultra at Ultra's best? No.
Someone in the chat said, why is Ace discrediting FaZe? I'm posing a question, my man. Relax. I'm posing a question. That's all I did. Calm down. Okay? I like FaZe a lot. Okay? I'm in the FaZe warehouse. Don't kick me out. I'm fine. Okay? Listen. Now we're going to go into what happened after the match. So after the match, if you guys are unaware, because a lot of tweets were deleted, so like some people may not actually know what happened. Basically, Scrap tweeted something.
Share the tweets, baby. Share the tweets.
All right, we'll go to the tweets.
Let's get it rolling.
Gursh, are you silent on this?
Right.
No, I can talk about it.
They're already out on the internet. Okay, let me just talk about this real quick, okay? If my internet doesn't want to lag out while I'm loading the stream real quick.
All right, we're starting with the Keeks tweet, by the way. That's what we're starting with. Keeks
yeah,
tweet.
we can start with the Keeks tweet. Absolutely.
All right,
so
go ahead.
This is what I thought was funny, right, about this whole thing, is that Scrappy after the series was pretending to Drazah, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, it's only 10 CDL points. Like, I don't really care about the loss, you know what I mean? And he was clearly, you know what I mean? He was clearly getting a bit tight, wasn't he, about getting 3-0'd, and Drazah was roasting him on the post-game interview because obviously he's coming out with this. Okay, if we don't know, Keeks, girlfriend of Drazah, they have a baby together now. So it's one of these things where when Scrap and Drazah get into it, it's like man-to-man beef, whatever. I think whenever we start to bring in the family stuff and the girlfriend stuff, especially when they got a kid, that's when it kind of goes next level, right? So, and look, I think the thing I wanted to really say about this is Scrappy is kind of, because we know that there's beef between these two and we can simply share the tweets and that becomes very evident indeed. But I think Scrappy's response to the situation was interesting, right? Because Scrap deletes the tweet, he does his own tweet. We know that he was speaking to Scump and Zuma to not talk about it. He DM'd me to not talk about it. And look, I don't know. You guys say something and then I'll chime in again.
I mean, you want me to? All right, listen.
Trei, go ahead.
At the end of the day, if you're gonna tweet something, stand on your own business. All right, that's my point. If you're gonna bring girlfriends into it, I know it's not professional. I know it's not, but we live in a world these days, and Rab is the world leader of this. Once something's on the internet, it doesn't disappear off the internet. You've said it. It's been screenshotted. It's tweeted. Stand on your business. Deal with what it is. The fact it turned from a CDL game into girlfriends roasting each other too was mind blowing to me. But that's the world we live in these days. And if you're gonna stand on your business, yeah, make sure it's fuck you and fuck your bitch. All right, that's the business you need to stand on and deal with it. And if that's where we're going in this world, that's perfectly fine by me. But own it. All right. If you're gonna get fined, you're gonna get fined. It's already out there anyway. We're on the internet. We're on the internet. It's been screenshotted and sent to Rab. Rab's throwing it at the mouth. He wants that bitch. All right. He wants that money. He wants that YouTube revenue.
It's not quite that simple. I mean, I could expand a little bit. I mean, I often pros, they'll message me and they'll be like, hey, can we either not talk about this or something like this? And it's like, I get it, but something has to be prioritized, right? Either I prioritize what is best for this pro player in this instance, or I prioritize actually upholding some degree of standards within this community, because it's not my fault that Scrappy tweeted all those tweets. And also, he had plenty of chances to back down. Like, he tweeted this, and this on its own wasn't even that bad. The next one was bad, and then the next one after that was worse because, like, you know, he kept going. So he had his chances at a scrap to not follow through with this. And also, I can't just pretend that this stuff doesn't happen and properly explain the context. Like, people, if we want to create good entertainment in this league, we need the storylines to be developed well. And if people don't understand quite why Drazah versus Scrappy is going to be insanely dramatic for the rest of time, then people aren't going to want to tune into the games. So, you know, I can't just sit there and not talk about the context when this stuff happens. So I thought it was interesting, right? It's like, I get that Scrap wanted to do this whole damage control operation, but it's easier just not to say it in the first place, right?
That was my point. You know, you've said it. As a player, you've got to expect the girlfriend of the winning player to say something, you know, even if it's just like, my man fried, or, you know, something like that. You know, like I said, it is disrespectful if we are like, I don't know if the fidget spinners are like, you know, something they've implemented into their game where, you know, they're just chilling playing with fidget spinners, you know, to calm down the brain or something like that. But if that's what it is, like, the girlfriends are nothing to do with your CDL match. Let's be real. They do not affect your gameplay or anything like that. The girlfriends are essentially fans of the game too, and it's no different than someone else tweeting it out randomly just because they are somewhat related to the player that is playing. It should not change. It should not affect you. It's like that whole Vickle thing where I said, you know, some random Twitter account saying that you're awful shouldn't affect you. You know, you shouldn't reply to that. But you have replied to it. Stand on your business. Own it. I don't care that you said it, really and truthfully. I think it's funny. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Carry on doing your thing. But if he's doing it not to be fined, like I said, it's the internet. It's already on there. It's been screenshotted. It's on Reddit. It's never going anywhere. It doesn't matter.
These things also blow over, like, reasonably quickly. I mean, I think people always... I know that this drama is going to live on, obviously, because they're going to play each other at some point. But I know that players, when this stuff happens, they think, oh my God, it's like the end of the world. And I shouldn't have said that. And I'm going to get clowned forever. But it never really works like that. Like, give it a couple of days and there'll be some new drama that people are talking about. It's just the way that the news cycle works. So, you know, it's big for a few days and it's certainly going to be big when they play again. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
The girlfriends are going to start scrapping after they win too. Like,
I mean, I think honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. None of the players have offered to pay me off, by the way, yet either. When that happens, I'll be letting you know, because at some point, someone is going to say, like, I'll slide you some cash not to talk about this. And unless it's like 100 mil, I'm saying no.
That's what I'm just envisioning right now. CDL Miami, fucking FaZe versus Ultra, FaZe win. Drazah starts giving it the big and on the stage. Next show, Keeks just lamps Scrappy's misses, and it's just fucking, it's all World War III for no reason, you know. That's what I'm saying. Just, you know, let's dial it back in. Just keep
I'll throw hands, bro. I'll throw hands. Hey, anyone wants it with me, I'll throw hands, bro.
Like, let's dial it in. Keep it to COD. Keep it player to player. It doesn't matter if a girlfriend, fan, or anyone tweets about you like that. We're grown men out here, you know. Lock it the fuck in and, you know, be professionals.
Yeah, that's the only take I have on this, and that's all I have to say. I mean, there's definitely a boundary, but I feel like that boundary has to be respected on both sides. Like, if I'm a fan, I mean, in Keek's situation, she's just talking about the match, right? Like, yeah, LMAO keeps spinning it. It's whatever, bro. They showed a comedic segment of Scrap fucking spinning a fidget spinner. Like, it's not that deep. It's a fucking fidget spinner. That to me is like about the same as like bands doing breathing.
It's like exercises. A so deep jerking it type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly, right? But if you're a fan, you own the responsibility of not like directly tweeting at a player. Like, for me, I know that I'm on the side of that boundary where I'm not the one spawning in. If FaZe wins and we beat fucking like whoever, right? I'm not jumping for joy and directly adding TJ Halley saying, "Teach, you fucking suck, bitch. Like, shut the fuck up." No, because I wasn't the one spawning in. Teach, I love you, right? But the thing is, people always emphasize that side of things and they forget about the other side of it, which is if you're a player, bro, fans are going to say whatever the fuck they want. This is Twitter, and whether it's someone you know, someone you've met at an event, someone related to someone on the opposition, or a fucking burner account that someone did 5 minutes ago, you got to respect the fact that that's just fucking Twitter, bro. And if you take it upon yourself to then go tweet at someone else's girlfriend, bro, like that to me is like, then it's you crossing the boundary instead of the other way around, right? Like if your girlfriend's beefing with someone else, that's still on this side of the boundary, bro. But then you're the one crossing it, and that's where it should just like goes haywire. I feel like that's when you create the situation for yourself, but it's whatever, bro. Just keep that shit in the game.
And I'm gonna add to that too a little bit, just because like Rab said it perfectly. Like he had so many chances to stop tweeting, to just move on with his day, to go fucking fidget, circle jerk himself in the corner after a loss and just go chill. Whatever he wants to do, he could have gone and done it. But instead, we'll click through a couple more of these, right? The Keeks tweet is the initial. And then his girlfriend tweets, man, I could imagine my boyfriend's achievements being my entire personality. This is where I believe he took it too far, right? This tweet is where I believe, let me zoom in for the chat.
Bro, this tweet is actually insane.
This tweet is where I think that
this tweet is insane.
He took this a little bit too far, and DMing the whole league, waiting for the pro to take the trap. That's a good one. So, yeah, at this point, I think he needed to like just get off his phone after the last tweet. Like, oh, haha, I replied to his girlfriend. Haha, I can put my phone down and relax. But it continues, man. Like, this reaction then gets to Drazah hitting, adding him directly and continuing on, and then it keeps going. I don't know. In my opinion, it's like you have to
I was gonna say, like, you can not respect the player. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to respect the player, but outing some bullshit like that is crazy.
Yeah, like taking it to a level that's not like you're still a professional. You're still, if LeBron James's wife tweets out, "Wow, this guy sucks." No one gives a shit. No one should give a shit. It's not, who cares? LeBron James' wife is irrelevant to LeBron James and the Lakers. It's not the same thing. So I think this whole interaction it just went way too far, to the point it looked like you were in a local neighborhood and two guys on Twitter started to like talk shit and they're about to go to the backyard and start fighting out of nowhere. It didn't look like...
I got one more for you as well, Ace. There's one more tweet
send it over.
That you want to bring up. I just put it in the chat because it was the reply to this from Drazah. When Scrap replied with one more thing, and it was like, this was his chance. If there was any final chance for him to like just to call it a day, like this is what he replied to that thread, and then he was like, okay, holy shit, the caffeine from the series wore off. I need to call this a day.
My point is the fact that it's turned from a COD game for 10 CDL points to a personal level where like I'm not being funny. I know none of these two are going to scrap it out because let's be real, like they ain't going to do it. I was going to say something a bit mean to them, but like it would just be two idiots fighting each other. Like we've gone from 10 CDL points to that we don't care about to actually hitting personal levels with, and it's not like he just said it once, said it twice. This motherfucker went on a rant, numerous amount of tweets, 2 directed at his girlfriend, 6 directed at Drazah, basically outing some shit that has nothing to do with COD whatsoever. And that's when it gets personal. It's like it's like attach his mum tweeting out like, congrats to my son for winning the event. And he goes, oh, fuck your dog, his son. Like, there's just no need to do it.
Some of the parents do that. I've seen these esports parents, bro. They go different.
Yeah, that's like that. Yeah.
I'll say we're missing also one of the tweets as well, but also Scraps tweeted out a gif of orange juice. I will say that was another one that he tweeted out as well. Did you see that, Rab, or did you see that, Trey?
Yeah, can you explain that to me?
I love how you rolled that into my court. I like how you rolled that into my court like that. That's smart. That's very intelligent.
I genuinely don't even know, though.
I feel like I know it, but I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to be wrong. And actually,
okay, someone in the chat will know.
Trey, you have to say it so I can tell you if it's right or not.
Nah, because I'd rather you just type in the chat so I could be like, oh no, I don't.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's better. Wait, give it a second.
We also can't blue ball the stream like this.
I'm sorry, I have to.
No. Like,
I'll,
maybe. Okay, interesting.
Look
if
at
it
chat.
is-
Look at chat. Look at chat. Look at chat.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it is
Okay.
what I think. It
So
is,
you want to
yeah.
you want to bring it up or no?
But this has also been the accusation before, right? You remember when Slasher played against Drazah and they had the snaking cheese drama back in last year's game, and then Slasher just dropped the straight Addy pill emoji in the replies or some shit like that?
I mean, listen,
So-
I'll take it because I used to take it. All right, I'll take this topic because I used to take Addy. Yes. If we're gonna assume it's like that, then yeah, orange juice, acidic shit like that dampens the effect of Addy. Like it essentially, helps the effect wear off a little bit. I'm gonna assume that he's basically just saying he takes a shit ton of Addy and he needs some orange juice to fucking chill out. Which, if there was ever a time to just shut the fuck up, it'd probably been then. But
You can't, bro.
It's like-
listen, you can't triple down that hard. Bro, he tripled down how many times? Okay, once, twice, thrice, thrice. And then 5 times with the orange juice. That's 5 times. He
Like, right, this is what's funny. And then he has the audacity to message me not to talk about it in a video. I'm like, bro, I don't know. I get, sometimes they message me and I'm like, I totally get their perspective, but I'm like, what do you expect? What do you think is going on here? Like, you can't just turn up into the DMs and say, yeah, like, I know this is going to suck, but you're not allowed to talk about it. I'm like, no, you don't make the rules.
There's also this one from Shaw Madrid too, who tweeted out, which is, again, this is real bold by Shaw, but he said literally, DM'd him, delete all the tweets or I'll get them taken down. I guess it's a bold shit
Shaw
right
deleted
here.
the tweets, bro. Shaw deleted the tweets. He pussied out, man. I can't believe it.
You can't say all talk no bark. Which, by the way, he fucked up the saying. It's all bark no bite. You can't say that someone has all bark no bite and then get pressured and fucking delete the tweets, bro. Like, if I'm Shaw, bro, unless Ultra is cutting me a check or unless Scrap's saying, hey, bro, like I'll take you in a ride in the fucking Lambo, like I'm keeping that shit up.
Yeah.
It's a picture like this though, yeah, Ace. It's like Scrappy hitting us up on the side and be like, yo, can you not talk about it on the show? The podcast though, where we tell all the CDL news, drama, roster changes, everything like that, and we can't say it just because, and listen, I love Scrap to pieces. I do. Great fucking kid, doing a lot for the league and stuff like that. But this is what I'm saying, yeah. You've tweeted it, it's on the internet forever. The delete doesn't mean anything. Because guess what? You've got Jimmy over there. Yeah, he's absolutely cracked off his nut off a Red Bull and a Celsius. He's already got as of it. Send that to his fucking mum, dad, brother, son, the whole school. It's on Reddit. It's there for life. There ain't no element change either because that tweet's been up there for a while. You shouldn't have done it. You fucked up. You're gonna have to own it up now because now it's not even it's not even like an in-game thing. Now it's a whole personal thing. This is an out-of-game issue as well now. And it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a little something happen at the event. Because listen, if I'm Drazah, yeah, I'm not taking that shit lightly. That is,
I'm never losing to Scrappy again.
He's basically, putting it nicely, he's just basically just called out his girl, and as a man, yeah, you got to defend your girl. Like, that's how it is.
He came for her pride, bro, and it's not. It's different when. It's very different when it's someone who's just a girl or a girlfriend. He has a baby with this girl. At that point, the past doesn't matter, bro. Like, you gotta situate that shit and leave it alone. Yeah, Scrap went way too far, considering this is basically his wife with a kid that we all know they have. Like, Scrap just took it too far, and then his backtrack on this is the least gangster thing I've ever seen in my life. Scrap should have stood on business and told everyone to basically go fuck themselves, and I think I would have respected it a lot more.
That's what I'm saying. Stand on your business. If it's fuck you bitch, then it's gotta stay like that.
Dog, that saying needs to be altered for this case, because the fuck you, fuck your bitch shit right now is not the time for this saying. I know it's your catchphrase and shit, but
You're getting cancelled with this.
Yeah, we gotta chill out with that one.
I'm sorry.
Because the fuck you, fuck your bitch shit in this context is fucking terrible.
Listen, I don't mean it like that. You Americans take things out of context. I can't get cancelled for this too. This is unacceptable.
Holy shit.
That's just the aggressive way of saying, like, I don't care about you guys. I'm saying what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna leave it up there because I don't respect any of you.
They're gonna clip you out of context anyways. It's all good though. Do you guys think
but man,
that
this storyline, right? Like, just looking at it from the FaZe Ultra angle now, it was already good enough. Especially because these two teams are probably going to play each other at like every event, because they'll match up at some point. Winners finals, losers finals, grand finals, whatever. Like, it's going to happen. Basically, every month we're going to have an Ultra versus FaZe rivalry. And I mean, we've seen some heated on-stage banter over the last few years, but Jesus Christ, this is going to get insane. Especially from Drazah's end.
Do we think that Toronto send Scrap to sensitivity training? Does he get the Cammy treatment?
Scrap said that he didn't get told to delete it. Like, if you go to Scrap's Twitter, he did those 2 tweets that basically backtracked, and he replied. I think he might have replied to Rose, actually. I'm not 100% sure. But he replied to someone that basically said, no, Ultra didn't tell me to do this. I came to my senses. Effectively was his discussion.
Listen, I'm gonna be real. Scrappy does not come to his senses. We all know this. He's a very aggressive, trolly person. At the end of the day, he probably could have, and he probably thought he was, just because he's lost and he's a bit angry, the troll was a bit too far, and maybe he did. Maybe he did come to his senses, and he thought, fucking hell, actually, I fucked up here. But if that's the case, I wouldn't have done 20 more tweets. I would have done the first one and been like, yo, that was kind of crazy. Actually, let me double down on this. Actually, let me triple down on this. Yeah, I don't know. Scrappy does seem like a type of person that, like, does realize if he's gone too far. But I also do believe that if he is someone that would stand on his own, stand on business, as we say. I feel like he is that type of person. If he did realize he took it too far, I'm sorry, but if you realize that you've took it that far to the point where you delete the tweets, you actually should apologize too. If you actually think you took it too far, and that's the reason that's the reason you don't want anyone to talk about it, and that's the reason you've deleted your tweets, you should genuinely apologize. You don't have to apologize to Drazah. I mean, I'd apologize to Drazah and say, sorry for, with the girlfriend aspect, I don't like you as a player, but I apologize for taking it personally. That's,
that'd be a sensational apology, by the way. Just to say, look, yeah, I really dislike you as an individual, but I did go too far this time.
Listen, I don't like you as a person or a player, but I will apologize for taking it personally outside the game. If that's what it actually means, if that's what he genuinely means by saying they didn't, tell me to delete it, I went too far, then you should apologize. Maybe you don't have to apologize to Drazah. Maybe just apologize to Keeks, because that shit's unacceptable.
Well, we don't do that if we're Scrap. No chance. We run it back, baby.
Over under chances that they actually do scrap at the major. Guys, chat. Guys, do we see them actually throw hands?
I mean, listen, I'm not...
I think if this was the final week of qualifiers, maybe.
If this was champs, they're doing it, but there's a few more majors, because if there's one thing I know is motherfuckers are gonna get banned if they fight, because I know it's a big thing. I know Reedy couldn't go to an event, if you remember that, Rab.
Deary me, bloody, that takes me back. Yeah, good times. Shout out Reedy.
Foreshadowing the major, which might be the next time we see these two teams play it out. I mean, I know there's been a lot of conversations about like the emotional state going into this, but I mean, in my opinion, dude, and this isn't going to be just glazing fucking mozzarella cheese, whatever this guy likes to say, like, you got to think, dude, like, if there's one person in this scenario who's kept his cool, in my opinion, it's Drazah, because Drazah was the one fucking tweeting 30 different things. I have a lot of respect for Scrap. I think he's a good player. It's definitely a bit hard to respect him when he comes at, like, a team and people that I care a lot about, but you got to think, bro, if there's someone who's under pressure, to me, even from a neutral perspective, in my head, the person more under pressure is the one who's now questioning themselves, now deleting tweets, who, by the way, he took complete responsibility for deleting the tweets. It's not Ultra coming at him. I mean, you're also the team that just lost. Like, there's a storyline building, bro, but I don't think that the ATL guys should be in any fault or any doubt here. if that's going to be considered bias, it's bias, whatever. But like, there's one person instigating, and there's one person that's going to have to face the consequences, bro. Like, it is what it is.
He built some pressure that he's gonna have to face.
I mean, fair play to Drazah for not getting personal back, really. I think that's I think we can, as much as Drazah.
He did call him a pussy. I mean, he did call him a pussy.
Yeah, but that's not a personal shot at his girl or anything like that. He could have done something back or said something about that. Really, he kept it in game. He kept it CDL, not MTV type. Like he kept it where it should be. Yeah, he called him a pussy. Fuck. I mean, I'd like to see it at an event. And call him a bitch, call him a pussy. I'd like to see where that ends up. I mean, I'll be in Miami too, so I'll get both in headlock. You know what I'm saying?
I honestly can't wait for media day. I'll be there for media day. I'll be just looking at them two, waiting for them to come in the room and shit.
If they walk past each other, like if I'm Draz, I gotta say something, bro. I got you gotta apply some pressure.
You just fist bump, bro. Move on.
You gotta assume that you gotta assume that like there's people in the mix in the middle. Neutrals that are trying to probably ease this up over the next few days. I would assume so that like there's people probably like trying to calm it down and create some peace. As crazy as it is, I have to feel like there's people like already DMing them and mutually talking between them to make sure this doesn't like become any bigger than it already is.
The girlfriend drama also goes crazy as well. Like I don't know if you know about this, Trey, but like I mean you get Darian who's friends with. You know how it goes. Like they're friends with the girls of certain players, and then Keeks obviously and Darian. Like obviously that ain't gonna work. So it's just drama. It's trickle down drama.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of like controversial things with, girlfriends in the past, especially Keeks when it comes down to like her being in the crowd supporting Drazah and stuff like that. People people going crazy about that stuff. And I always felt bad for Keeks in that regard because like she's just there screaming, shouting, supporting and stuff like that. And now you've got instead of fans now doing it, you've got players now doing it. So shout out to Draz. If I'm Draz, I might even check Scrap, see if he's a little bit scared. To do the fake jump thing at him, see if he flinches or whatever like that. Proper get in there and just get imagine if like Scrap just flinches like fuck, bro. Like, I mean, he's got to be checked.
I feel like if we're being serious and like not to kill the fun, but like, bro, if I'm not chill, dude. If I'm Draz, the only thing I'm focused on is winning because beef is temporary, legacy is forever.
Okay, at least you killed the fun with some gangster ass like ending, this like quote and stuff.
I don't believe my tweets.
I mean, just round it off like this. Scrap shouldn't have done what he done, and if I like as a grown ass man, we're all grown men, even if they are younger or whatever. As a grown ass man, you made a mistake in my opinion, and then if you don't like someone, that's perfectly fine, but. As a professional and a grown-ass man, you have to apologize for what you did. Maybe not to Draz because you don't care or don't like him or whatever like that, but you at least apologize to his girlfriend.
Yeah. Last thing I'm gonna say is, as a grown-ass man, you never come at a woman for any reason, especially when it's a beef or Draz goes and says something on an interview or on TL or you just as a grown man, a professional, you should never come at a woman in that regard. I don't think I would never do that. I don't think Rab would ever do that.
Hey, yo.
What?
No. Of course. It's just the way you said it. The chat was good. The chat was having fun with that.
What the hell?
No, but I think you're cooking it.
Hey, chat, you guys.
He's finally cooking
out the gutter,
with some actual ingredients.
Yeah, chat, you guys need to get out the gutter, bro. But I wouldn't do that. Rab wouldn't do that. Trey wouldn't do that. Gursh wouldn't do that. I think they're young. I get it, but like, man, you got to have some more sense in your brain to not just come at a girl, regardless of a girlfriend, a fan, anyone. Just like don't come at a girl oddly and like aggressively. Very weird. But I think
also please don't cancel me. I'm seeing the chat. Everyone's please don't cancel me.
What? You can't
get cancelled unless you want to get cancelled, Trey.
That is true.
They almost can't. They tried to cancel you. I saw that on the TL. They really did try to cancel you a few days, like a week ago.
Yeah, I saw someone. My mum messaged me and said, "I've just had a Reddit thread pop up about you." I said, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't read it."
What's your mom is telling you about it? Holy shit, it's deep, man. But
my mum loves this show, man. My mum loves it.
Shout out Mama Zero. Shout out Mama Rab. Shout out Mama Gursh. Shout out Mama Stocksman. Guys, is there anything else we want to add to this, or any final thoughts generally about this week? Anything else with the show? Gursh, I mean, any thoughts? Final thoughts, bro?
I mean, I'm gonna head out, but
okay,
I will say, everyone be sure to use your Prime sub actually on GG Breaking Point. Buy Trei merch. Everyone subscribe to Tactical Rab. Support this guy. What do you do? Stream now?
Stream and make videos.
All right, but most importantly, twitch.tv/good. No, I'm fucking. No. I appreciate you guys, and bro, at the end of the day, it's just Twitter.
Later, bro. Yeah, guys.
Good stuff, guys. Good to see you.
That is big boy Gursh right there. You know, GOAT. Guys, I think that was a absolute W of a show. It's been real. 3 hours and 11 minutes. We always say we're going to get it to 2. We always say we're going to get it to 2.5. We always say we're going to get it to... We try to make it shorter, but damn it, the people want Dope Check. The people want Rab. The people want Trei. The people want Ace the Stocksman. They want the yapping. So, on behalf of Dope Check and Breaking Point, we appreciate you for stopping by this week. We want to see you next week, and hopefully you're here Friday for the CDL pre-show that we're going to be doing before the matches. Come join us. Come have some fun. We'll be here next week. Again, same time, or excuse me, back to the normal time, 4 p.m. Eastern next week. Dope Check episode 11 then. Thank you guys for watching. That is Dope Check episode 10 from me, Rab, and Trei, and all of Breaking Point. That is Dope Check, and we are out. Later, guys.